Hey everybody, good morning. Oh, we lost the transition. Let's redo that. No, actually, let's not. Now you'll notice real quick, Rifkin's voice is coming at you, but where's his camera? I'm actually taking more of a backseat role in today's stream. We got these three lovely motherfuckers here to guide you through the cast today. We got some excellent players here on the docket. The first ones of the day are going to be Trap versus Lenok. And while I pass off to Zombie Grub here in a moment and everyone to do their quick intros, I'm going to go start getting the interview sorted with them, as we'll have Crank providing some translation today. So we'll get some awesome questions in, so hopefully some cool answers, and of course overall some great games. But Zombie Grub, leave it to you.
Okay. Just kind of like generally hosting the show. All right, cool. Yeah. Wasn't necessarily expecting that, but hi guys. It's me, Zombie Grub, Harsum, Roddy. I don't know where they are actually on the overlay because there's a delay, but they're somewhere. So it's going to be a TriCast for the most of the time, and maybe I'll let them like talk more about Protoss, although I think I know a lot more than them. It's just like, I don't know, I want to be like kind of nice, but you know, how you guys doing? You can speak.
I thought Kevin's gonna go first. Youngsters first, you know.
Sure. Well, I'm doing absolutely amazing. I had a great night of sleep, getting ready for this PeopleImages StarCraft League. I've been looking forward to this a lot actually, because usually I have to do with VODs, but now I get to actually have the replays at the end as well to look over very slowly again, and it's actually gonna be some sick games. I'm really feeling it. I had a quick peek at the players list. I can't share anything, but it looks really, really good.
I'm doing great as well, Jess. I'm very excited. I played some games this morning. It went well. I'm fired up, and I'm obviously very excited about this playlist as well. I took a look at it, but there is one thing that I truly wonder about, and that is which of these Protoss players have done their homework and have been watching my stream, because that's what I truly wonder about. I want to see them bust out my build and take a little bit of credit. So I hope at least one or two of those guys, you know, they are well prepared. Now, all memes and jokes aside, super excited. We're going to have lots of fun. I mean, this is just a fun day, right? Some great games.
Yeah.
On the chat. Let's go. Let's party.
Obviously. Seriously, we're not going to spoil the players, but it is a pretty sick lineup, a good balance of all the races as well. So everyone has something to look forward to. Of course, if this is your first time watching the PeopleImages Star League, first of all, there's a Matcherino, so make sure to go there. I believe that's just exclamation point Matcherino in the chat. Use PeopleImages Star League PSL2. Trying to get the abbreviation correct as the code. Make sure to do that because we still have a lot of codes left, but also the format of this is just not what you would expect. This King of the Hill is actually a qualifier for a later tournament. There's already been an NA one, there's been an EU one. You can check out more on the Team Liquid thread if you want more details, but it is a King of the Hill, so we're going to have our starting match, and then from then on, whoever stays king, as it's probably going to get harder and harder for them to actually stay king. But thing is one person gets a qualifier spot for being the king at the end of this broadcast, basically. And another qualifying spot goes to the person who won the most games in the King of the Hill. So it's a very odd way to do things for a tournament, but that's why it's so unique. And we get a lot of really fun games because they're all going to be best of ones. And I know that could be kind of chaotic. It's not supposed to be fair, but that's what makes it fun, right? Actually, go ahead, Roddy.
Okay. I was just thinking, like, I'm very happy that we have Harsum here, right? But you know what would have been really sick? If you would have found someone that was born on the 7th of May. And I know Harsum is not born on the 7th of May. Because yesterday, Jazz, was your birthday. I believe you turned 22? Is that correct?
Well, my birthday was on the 5th, so I guess 2 days ago. And yes, 2021, actually.
My entire story is messed up. It's all never mind. Scrap it. Moving on.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up and moving on. The interview is actually ready, so we're going to go over to Rifkin and Crank.
Or I meant to say, thank you for that, Zombie Grub was still muted to the stream. Also, just quick note, Zombie Grub, if you could, just slightly less on the mic. I had to adjust it a little bit there, but I didn't realize it was going to peak so loud. But Zombie Grub's listening in, but I'm here for the questions, guys, and I got Crank joining me here for the, I guess, the translation part of it. So, hey, Crank, how's it going, man?
Hi. Today I'm going to translate what Korean player is gonna say, but it's gonna be a little bit sloppy, so deal with it, guys.
Lucky for us, this is BaseTradeTV. Professionalism is not our middle name. But we have Trap and Leenock. Unfortunately, no cameras for either, but the two voices chiming in are going to be from both of the first players playing today. So, Crank, if you could just ask them right off the bat, how do they feel about a King of the... It's a best of one. It's different than normal. Are they okay with this? Is this strange to them?
오케이, 동료아 일단 오늘 연승전 방식인데 이 방식이 조금 방식에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지.
일단 베스트 오브 원이라서 너무 재밌을 것 같고 정말 끔찍한 경기들이 많이 나올 수도 있을 것 같아서 더 재밌을 것 같아요.
Since it's best of one, it's going to be fun and it's going to be terrible games because it's best of one. They have nothing to worry about that.
That's a good answer. I like that answer.
오케이. 성호야 너는 어떻게 생각하냐?
저요? 이게 보통 스타투는 최소 3전 2선승제를 많이 하잖아요. 근데 이게 다른 대회랑 다르게 단판이라서 순식간에 많은 일들이 일어날 것 같아요.
Trev also agreed what Renox said is normally StarCraft 2 tournament at least like best of 3, but since this is best of 1, there will be a lot of like surprise strategy were happening, something like that.
All right. Well, a question I have for both of them, because they've been around for a long time. Do they get worried about new talents? Is there any new talent in the StarCraft scene, like younger players that are a challenge for them?
일단 동영이한테 뭐 요즘 신인 같은 거 신인 선수들이 안 나오는데 뭐 신인 선수들이 더 나올 것 같은지 아니면은 최근에 뭐 눈여겨본 선수가 있다든지.
글쎄요, 한국에서는 딱히 신인이 잘 안 나오는 것 같긴 한데 근데 해외에서는 레이너도 있고 또 프랑스에 누구 있었는데 아무튼 해외는 생각보다도 어린 친구들도 많이 하는 것 같아서 신기하기도 하고 기대도 돼요.
The Reno say that in Korea we have no like new rookies, but foreign scene has a lot. Like he doesn't really remember the French player's name, but he remember Rainer's name. So
Rainer, yeah, 10-0. Good stuff.
Yeah. 성원은 어떻게 생각해?
저도 솔직히 한국에서는 좀 어린 선수들이 나오기는 힘들 것 같다고 생각하는데 또 이제 최근에도 또 외국에는 어린 선수들이 나오고 있고 또 저보다 어린 선수들이 많아가지고 항상 저는 어린 쪽에 속했는데 지금은 좀 나이가 많은 편에 속하는 것 같아요. 외국인 선수 포함하면 그래서 좀 감회가 새로워요.
He also agreed what Linux said that in Korean scene we have no like new rookie, but yeah, he also says the foreign scene has a lot of new rookie, and he used to be young player, like younger players than other StarCraft 2 players, but including our foreign scene with the new rookies, he feels like he's getting older, so he feels different lately.
Old man, back pains, all that stuff. Okay, so we'll wrap this up quickly here because I know they want to get in the game. Leenock won the coin flip, so you guys know he wanted Biogenesis. I know Zamgrup's listening in if you wouldn't mind hosting that real quick. How does Trap feel about a Biogenesis?
성호야 알아들었지? AU 바이오제니시스 어떻게 생각하냐고?
어떻게 생각하냐고요?
동명이가 뽑았는데 그 부분에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지.
일단 끔찍하고 이동경 선수도 본인이 잘 아시더라고요. 뽑고 나서.
Trev said it is terrible. And Reno actually mentioned while we are waiting your call that Reno said, "Oh, isn't this too much? Or should I change map? Because I mean, what if I still pick a Biogenesis but still lose? Will I get punished or something like that?" So Trev said that Reno already know that this map is terrible for Protoss, so let's see like that.
All right, well, can you just ask them if they have any comments for each other before you get into game, or if it's just good luck, have fun?
서로 한마디 일단 동령이가 성우한테 먼저 한마디 해주고.
죄송합니다.
Reno said sorry.
Just sorry.
성원은?
미안해하지 않으셔도 되려면 제가 이기는 방법밖에 없는 것 같아요.
Trap said if you don't have to I will win, so you don't have to be sorry.
그건 나한테
Ooh.
미안한데.
I like spicy. All right, well, good luck to everybody playing. We're gonna go get the game set up. We'll see you in game. Roddy, Harsum, Zombie Grub, back to you. Thank you, Crank.
Okay, cool. I'm doing some sick micro myself on the mutes and whatnot, but I got it. And also the lobby is up, so brief moment while the players get in here. Abiogenesis, always a bit of a trolling map, but for a ZVZ between two guys that can be very aggressive. Do you guys have any expectations for this map?
Well, I often think when you see two aggressive players on a Biogenesis, you expect it to be super crazy early on, but it actually often plays out a tiny bit slower because they are both likely to make units. They will both see that they both have units. And then I think it actually turns into a good old Roach Fiesta here, maybe with like +1. And I think they will go crazy once they hit like 50 drones or something. But I've done this in the past where I'm like, oh my god, these guys are totally gonna rush each other. And then they both make Zerglings and Banelings and identify they can kill each other. So I actually think it might go longer than we expect.
It's Trap. I accidentally invited Impact.
Ah, you tricked me.
I'm sorry, Roddy. I'm sorry. It's a PVZ.
Okay. Well, PVZ, it kind of goes the same way. It often, like, I looked at this map in the past. I'm like, man, this Zerg's totally going to rush the Protoss. And then, you know, Zerg, they often do open up with the pool and the gas a lot faster because you don't want to die to something weird with batteries and whatnot. But it's actually almost like, even if you just force Protoss to play a lot safer and a lot slower, you're already dealing damage to the Protoss, I think. So, I don't know. I am curious to see how Lino plays it, but I don't think he should go super crazy early on. Just, you know, open in a scary way, a faster gas, a faster pool, but take the game from there.
Okay. I believe we're all good to go now. So we're gonna Harsum's thought once we get into games. We say we're all good. Okay. I guess we'll get Impact or Leanock to say he's ready, and then we'll really be. We are doing map intros, I believe, is what's Driftkin's trying to remind me of. Yep. Okay. But yeah, Leanock versus Trap. Abiogenesis, Leanock. Say ready. Just be official. Just go. Crank's actually speaking a ton of Korean right now, so let's just assume that Leanock is AFK. Harsum, what are you thinking about this map? PVZ.
I actually think this map is pretty good for Zerg because there's so many different things they can do. And I know Leanock a little bit because I lived with him in the Spano house for a bit, and this guy is not meant for the long macro game. He's most likely gonna rush, and I think against a player like Leanock, it's really scary to play a map like this because even if he plays macro, you're always gonna be expecting an all-in. So you're just preparing for things that won't happen, and you'll never be prepared for the thing that will happen. So I think it's a brilliant map pick for Leanock, really.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. The players are finally ready, so we're gonna be headed into Abiogenesis. Welcome back. We are into this game number 1 ZVP. In the top left, there's the red Zerg. He is Leanock. Roddy, take away the other player.
Right bottom side of good old Abiogenesis, a very small map, but we're looking at a very big Protoss player. It is Trap.
So, Trap actually had a decent performance recently, right? He did get out of his GSL group. I sometimes get him and Deer confused, but I thought he did. Do you guys know?
No, I don't know. I know that Deer made it out of his GSL group, so you might have gotten him confused.
Yeah, I might have gotten confused. Well, do you guys have any specific thoughts on Trap? Because Trap was a guy that, like, a while ago, and by while ago, I guess I mean years ago, was, like, super, super good, along with Deer, actually. Like, similar eras. Remember, like, Red Bull DC and, like, the DCS Canada one of the times. I think WC Toronto, but recently it hasn't been necessarily, like, the strongest contender. Leanock has been doing well. He was supposed to retire, like, literally months ago and decided not to once he got into GSL, and has been doing okay, about as expected for him. I feel like both these players are actually quite well matched, and the fact that Leanock was able to choose Abiogenesis is actually really key to this specific game number 1.
I feel like Trap is in a bit better shape right now. I think he's just a bit of a better player. Like, not by that much, but definitely a little bit. I mean, he did perform pretty decently at IEM, I want to say. IEM Katowice did pretty well. I think he got top 12, lost to Cyril. No shame in that. And I think his style is extremely safe and no mistakes. He won't do anything fancy, but his trademark style is just to make as little mistakes as possible. Like, he won't use an adept in a stupid way. Like, he won't use his scouting probe. He just doesn't really make silly mistakes. And I think against a player like Lino, that's a very good skill to have.
Ooh, I like this opening. I agree with Kafia, by the way. I actually think that Trap overall is a better player at the moment. He's in better shape. But on this map, I may favor Lino. I like his opening quite a bit. He's actually going to be able to get that first pylon very quickly, but he also goes for the Roach Burrow Rush. This is a build that we saw, I actually saw it being used 2 days ago in the Filthy Raid Cup, and I forgot who was the third player. Maybe it was Solar who did it against
Solar against Neep.
Yeah, Solar against Neep on
Catalyst.
But that was against the Stargate, and this is the Robo, so that's obviously the building that you want to have right here if your name is Trap. But that doesn't mean this is going to be easy, because he's still going to have to deal with a lot of units.
Yeah, and he also still doesn't have a full wall yet, so he'll need one more building for that. I think a battery will be useful as well. I actually believe that Trap knows what's coming.
Yeah.
So he probably has played against Lino before, because he is not full walling, which is extremely risky if this was like link speed or something.
Yeah, I know. He
Like,
would have
this
had
is-
link speed already because he
Yeah.
opened up with a very... This is crazy. It seems like Trap knows exactly what's happening, and the fact that this is not link speed, like this is almost the ideal scenario for Trap, but he still needs to handle things quickly and well.
Well, the Robo Opener is providing the Observer eventually, but the Immortal as well. And I feel like with such a strong counter to it, as you guys are talking about, like, this could have been speed as well, but he maybe has played against Enoch recently, maybe it's getting more popular in Epigenesis, but maybe forgetting to put another power pile on there. Gets everything depowered, and Trap might have made a huge mistake, but otherwise seemed to be a very nice defense.
Leonard lost a roach. He lost 2 roaches already. That's a little bit sloppy. There isn't that much happening right now. This is the only thing that truly matters. Now he is trying to save his roaches. He will unpower it just a little bit longer. Imagine if he would have kept those other roaches alive. He would have had so much more firepower, and he would have killed that pylon a lot quicker. Now, I think Trap is going to be totally fine here. Maybe he ends up losing 1 or 2 more probes. But I think if Leonard would have saved the other roaches, that would have been a lot harder for Trap.
Yeah, and during all of that, Enoch was also floating a good 500 minerals while being supplied with that 44 for almost a minute, I want to say. So I feel like he didn't handle that as well as he could have. But yeah, I actually really like Trap's defense, or Trap's position in this game right now.
I mean, Trap, of course, had the good build order, but I still really think that Lino could have got more value there. Like, these are world-class players that we're looking at. If it's 2 adepts, a stalker, and a couple probes, you have to borrow your roaches there. Like, that's just... That's the only thing that truly matters. And obviously, they regenerate health so incredibly quickly that if you burrow 1 or 2 roaches and then re-burrow them, he would have had so much more firepower in the next 20-30 seconds of that battle. Now I'm actually super worried because I have no idea how he's going to deal with these Immortals and all these gateways that Trap is throwing up.
Yeah,
not-
Trap sees that there's no third base right now as well. He sees a bunch of roaches, so I feel like this could even be a defensive Immortal in kind of. Like, he doesn't actually need to attack. If you're 2 base against 2 base, your opponent has roaches, and you're building Immortals, like, you don't need to attack. You can just go up to 6-7 Immortals. As long as the other guy doesn't expand, there's no need to attack. The moment you see the hatchery go down, you attack. But before that, all you have to do is defend. And I feel like it's very, very hard for Linux to break that. I guess Trap has a different opinion on that than me.
I'm with you though, Kev. I don't think this is necessary at all, what he's doing at this point. But what do you think, Jess?
I don't think it's unexpected, though, to have this follow-up. And, I mean, with the Force Fields and the Warp Prism, there's always an evacuation, well, I guess in Recall as well. So, I mean, committing to this, maybe it goes really poorly. He gets a couple bad Corrosive Vials, maybe even target the Warp Prism and things go really, really poorly. But I think he really believes that now it's time to strike, and he might be right.
Well, we've got our engagement. Those Corsair Gear kind of just in the middle of the pack. At least this pushes this army back for a little bit. A lot of adepts being shaded forward, but of course these adepts don't have resonating glaives, so they're not that scary. If I was Trap, I'd really back down. Yeah, and that's exactly what he does. So I think you were right there. He just relied on the force fields. Maybe he just wanted to force out even more units and to get even further ahead, but it really seemed like Linux was gonna attack anyway because Linux doesn't really have a backup plan here.
That's true. And it's, I mean, this is not the first time we've seen them really back and forth ZVP. The Zerg starts off aggressively. I would say more typically maybe with like a fast like speed, but with Lings. Then the Protoss counters. Okay, that's not so great, but the Protoss counters and then the Zerg continues to all in. I mean, the rush into this map is so short that, like, seriously, had Trap had maybe a worse attack there, but still backed off, maybe lost the sentries or something, or lost the Warp Prism even just right then and there, like, the counter could still be kind of hard to hold. He's even going to be bringing queens with this.
Yep, he's going to spread some creep forward as well. Go ahead, Kev.
He doesn't actually have that many force fields. Like, he used a lot in the fight, and right now he only actually has 3 force fields on his sentries. Like, 1 sentry is completely empty. With the amount of Ravagers, I think he'll still be fine, but it's actually looking decently scary with 11 Ravagers on the map right now. There is 4 Immortals, sure, but without force fields, and if the Lynx can connect to the Immortals, they actually can be quite good.
Well, the first force will go down. He's of course going to take the fight near 2 shield batteries, and that's pretty useful. The Rep can squeeze through, and the Queens are coming in from the north side as well. Let's see if those Lynx can get the surface area that you were talking about, Jeff.
Actually, a lot of the, I mean, okay, now at this point, all of the Immortals, Hardened Shields have been popped too by a couple of Corrosive Bios, but the Lings have gone away, and without any buff, those Ravagers are short to fall, and that is it. Trap takes game number 1, which would seem to be not a perfect execution of the counter build, but he at least opened with a very good build against Lennox, so maybe just anticipated that in Abiogenesis.
I think it's what Kev said. He must have played against this before, and he must have been really convinced that this was happening, because what he scouted really didn't like certify that this was indeed a Roach Burrow opening. It could have been a lot of things. He scouted the early pool and the early gas and the slightly later hatch. But, you know, we've seen plenty of Ling rushes or even Baneling busts on this map. If he would have just made Mass Ling Bane, I would have really liked to see how Trap would ever plan on defending that with the wall that he had and the very few units that he had. But, yeah, on paper, he had the absolute dream scenario, and he executed things all right. Kind of smooth, easy victory, I think, for Trap there in the end.
So it's actually going to be, we're going to get our next player up soon, as I micromanage once again, but what's interesting is that Trap is always going to be, I believe, up against like difficult times, right? Like, I think it's Challenger chooses the map, if I'm not mistaken. So like he has to worry about Abiogenesis a lot versus any of our other Zerg that might come forward here.
Yeah, I actually think it's really rough for TOS players, like the way this works. I think it's really hard to stay in. That's why I was so impressed by Drogo, who did it in the European, the second European group. He stayed on for so long. Like, there's so many maps which are kind of just always vetoed against a certain race in a best of 5 or in a best of 3. Like, you kind of need your 2 vetoes. Like, even a map like Catalyst really isn't nice against Zerg. And Abiogenesis feels terrible. You have very little practice on it. So yeah, I feel like it's actually going to be really, really hard for Trap. I feel like Zerg has it a bit easier, even though Neon Violet and Backwater are kind of hard against TOS. But yeah, it's a rough road ahead of him for sure.
Yeah.
Rifkin gonna give us hints. I would like to get hints, so we can do the guessing game.
Oh, the guessing game.
Yeah,
I
so
do like that.
I'm back on the call, guys. We got our next players set up here. I'm gonna, I guess, give some hints here to our co-casters to guess who's coming up next. The next player, though, is pretty darn good. Happy for Roddy and Harstem, because the first hint, of course, is that it is a Protoss player. Also, you guys, well, don't jump the gun on the first guess, Roddy. But I was going to say for the audience as well, they don't know the order of this. I'm the only one who knows the order of the players today, so it is a total guessing game for them as well. But Roddy guesses Zest. I'll tell you right off the bat, that's wrong, so it eliminates one big kahuna. So the question is, who could it possibly be? I think the biggest hint I could give you is, which player is this? As in, which player is this?
Hero. Good one. That's maybe a little too obvious.
Yeah, I didn't want to drag this out too long, but it is none other than Root Gaming. Not Team Liquid, not anyone else, but Root Gaming's Hero. Now, I actually have them on the call, so we're going to jump directly to the interview as I swap over now. Good guy Crank's been setting this up for us, so without further ado, once again, hello stream, and what's up, Crank? Oh wait, it's muted. Hang on, one sec. What's up, Crank?
Oh yeah, we were talking about the people, the season 1 that Hero lost to round 8, and then we checked the bracket, And Hero played against Trap at season 1, and the Hero beat
Oh.
Trap. Actually, did you make this bracket on purpose or what?
Bracket is 100% random.
Okay.
So just bad luck. Well, I guess I gotta change who's on here real quick. Once again, there's no cameras for these folks, guys, but we do have Hero now joining us alongside Trap. Welcome, Hero. I guess the first question I have for him is, with that information, how does he feel about this game? It's a best of one.
이거 단판인데 준호야 어떻게 생각하니?
단판이라서 좀 더 부담 없이 좀 더 머리 쓸 거 없이 편하게 해서 좋은 것 같아요. 저는.
그리고 시즌 1 대진표 봤는데 네가 그때 성으로 떨어뜨렸더라고. 저번에 나오자마자 졌어 나한테.
이번에도 그럴 건지. 뭐 좋은 기억이 있기 때문에 이번에도 뭐 잘 흘러가지 않을까요?
He said the best of one is gonna be fun, and since he has a good memory that he beat Trap at season 1, he feels like he's gonna make it again.
Okay, that's fair. I actually have a question from Harsum for Trap. During that last game he played versus Lenog, did he know about Lenog's build for that? I mean, it was definitely a very strange Zerg build.
We already talked about it, but I will ask Trap again. 이거 하스템이 질문 왔는데 이거 알고 이렇게 대처를 했는지 아니면은 어떻게 하게 되는지.
그냥 AU바이오가 올인이 막기가 너무 힘들어가지고 솔직히 운영 생각하면 토스가 저그를 우간 아니면 이기가 힘든데 그냥 게임 찍고 했어요. 우간하면 거의 못 막는다고 봐야 돼가지고.
So Trap said that if Trap wants to beat Zerg with a macro game, he has to go to Stargate. But since map is Abiogenesis, so he couldn't go to Stargate because he couldn't hold the Roach attack. So he just predicted that Reno is gonna do some all-in at early game. So that's how he defended it.
Oh, super sick predictions. All right, that's fair. Hero, of course, is the challenger to this, so we gotta ask him real quick. What map does he want, so we can host that while we talk?
준호야, 네가 이제 도전자라서 맵을 고르는 방식이래. 무슨 맵 할래?
맵 고르는 거예요? 그 레더 맵이죠.
레더 맵인. Can he still use Abiogenesis or?
Yes, any map.
Abiogenesis도 포함해서 골라도 된대.
진짜요? 근데 또 성우 이겼으니까 안 고르지. 블랙핑크요.
What? So he asked if he can use Biogenesis and goes with Blackpink?
No. I just made sure that if he can pick any maps or he cannot pick the map that played.
Okay, so. But it is Blackpink, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you could ask both of them, what are their thoughts generally on PvP right now? Like easy matchup, hard matchup?
나 준호한테 먼저 물어볼게. 푸푸전 요즘 어떤 거 같은지, 뭐 그냥 뭐 쉬운지 어려운지 아니면은 뭐 이게 푸푸전에 가나 아무 생각이나 얘기해 주면 좋을 것 같아.
초반에는 솔직히 빌드 싸움이 심하다 생각하고 초반만 좀 비슷하게 넘어가면은 실력 싸움이라고 생각해요.
It's he said that in early PvP it's like rolling the dice. It's
sorry, who?
Really,
I don't know voices.
Hero said that. Okay. Hero said that. It in early PvP it's like rolling the dice. It's totally random game, but when he go to late game, it's totally up to the scale. That's how he feel about PvP. So 성우는 어떻게 생각해?
저요? 저도 초반 빌드 싸움이 너무 심해서 그러니까 누가 누구랑 붙은 간에 누가 이겨도 이상하지 않은 것 같아요.
So Trap also say that it's like a rock paper scissors. So Trap feels like whoever wins, it's not like it's no surprise. Everybody can win against everybody in PvP like that.
All right, that's fair. I actually have a question here specifically for Hero, but if Trap has an answer, that's okay too. The state of Korea has changed a lot, right? No more big team house. Has this been easier or harder for Hero? Like, is it better to have more freedom, or does he miss having like the CJ and Gentis environment and stuff like that?
이게 이제 많이 환경이 바뀌었는데 준호한테 물어보고 싶은 게 어떻게 지금 생각을 하는지 예전에 팀 있었을 때랑 지금 혼자 연습할 때랑 어떤 부분이 조금 다르고 뭐 얘기를 해줄 수 있는지.
솔직히 팀에 있을 때는 배부른 소리도 많이 했거든요. 나가서 게임하고 싶다. 혼자 편하게 하고 싶다. 근데 나와서 게임 해보니까 자기 관리가 상당히 힘들더라고요. 그래서 팀 생활을 그리워하고 있어요.
So when he was in CJ Antus team, he really wanted to get freedom. He wanted to go outside and then play himself. But right now, he feels like it was really like childish. He's missing having team and then in team house and then everybody can take care of him so he can focus on the game.
인터뷰하고 이제 다시 또 해.
What about
That's much.
how are things nowadays for Trap? Because of course he's still on big team, right? Jin Air.
뭐 성호는 뭐 지금 팀에 있지만 뭐 지금 다른 사람들 보고 뭐 준호 같은 사람들 보고 뭐 어떻게 생각하는지.
부러운 점도 있기는 한데 저는 알아요. 저도 혼자 생활해본 적이 있기 때문에.
그치.
게이머를 하기 위해서는 팀 숙소에서 다른 선수들과 같이 하는 게 무조건 좋다고 생각해요, 저는. 그래서 전 지금이 좋아요.
He knows how Hero feels right now because he was without team before joining Jin Air. So he knew that it's not gonna be really great to have freedom instead of having team. So and he thinks that having team is always good in StarCraft 2, saying like so they can discuss about strategy and then practice each other, something like that.
Okay, that's really interesting. Well, I don't want to keep them any longer. Let's go ahead and get this wrapped up for the game. So can you just ask them if they have any words for each other or if it's just good luck, have fun?
서로한테 한 마디씩.
네. 누가 먼저?
그래. 성호야 재밌게 하자.
네.
성호는.
네, 저도 재밌게 했으면 좋겠어요.
They both said let's have fun.
네, 준호 형한테 진 기억밖에 없어가지고 한 판만 좀 이기고 싶네요.
Trev said more. He always he feels like he always lose against Hero, so he wanted to make a good memory here.
All right. Well, best of luck to everybody. Thank you very much once again, Crank, and we'll go back to the casters.
Okay, doing some mute micro there, getting used to this. Bobby's almost ready to go to see the players in, but to keep you guys up to date, the interview was pretty lengthy, but a lot of interesting questions. So first of all, Trap said that he just figured Leonok was going to cheese, that's why he opened Robo. He feels like it's actually just possible on Abiogenesis, as opposed to anything else. He would play like a Stargate opener, but Abio is a specific thing, so now we know why he had such a good counter. And they talked a little bit about, the actual matchup coming up, Trap versus Hero. Trap feels like he always loses to Hero, so he hopes that this is going to be a bit of a change, and that they both think that it's a little coin flippy, maybe a little bit of luck in the early game, but late game it determines more based off of skill. So with that in mind, as we go into Black-Pink, Hero versus Trap, what do you guys think about this upcoming match? Harson first.
I mean, I've watched the Hangzhou Carnival or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And I saw a Hero play some PvPs there, and he has a very interesting playstyle, to say the least. It seems like he's just planning on all-inning of 30 probes or 24 probes every single game in PvP. So I was watching it and you're like, all right, this looks terrible for Hero. I wonder how this is gonna work out. And then he lost, but then he got kind of destroyed by Need. But I feel like that's just the way that Hero plays. When he loses, it looks extremely silly. But when he wins, it looks super one-sided because it's all-in work. So I wouldn't be surprised to even see like a 1-base 4-gate or some quick 2-base push. Like, he's been really throwing everything out, and he's definitely the aggressive player in this out of the two.
Yeah. Well, Roddy, we'll get your thoughts when we're in game. We're going to Black-Pink. See you guys soon.
Click, clack, bada bing, bada boom. 문을 박 차면 모두 날 바라본 굳이 애써 노력 안 해도 모든 남자들의 코피가 팡팡팡 팡팡 바라바라 팡팡팡 지금 날 위해 축배를 짠짠짠 Hands up 내 손에 바라 follow 해니 네가 말로만 듣던 area. Boombayah. Yeah, boombayah.
It's an excellent question, Israti. As we get into this game is who's who, but there is a clan tag. So on the top right, let's do this guy first, is the red Protoss. It is Hero.
Woo, saved by the bell. I was in full panic mode there. I'm like looking at 2 photos. I was like, I have no idea who's who. All right, over here in the left bottom side of Blackpink, we're looking at the main base of our Protoss player, our current king. It is Trap.
Yeah. We got Hearthstone stop before we went in the game, and I definitely agree. I mean, Hero's quite an aggressive player in all matchups. But do you have any different thoughts, or just the same deal there, Roddy?
No, obviously, I mean, Hearthstone knows his PvP and knows these guys very well, so I don't think I have to add too much there. I do wonder about the mapping. Like Blackpink, when I think of Blackpink, I think of a PvP where I feel like the opening is often quite standard. This map doesn't scream Stargate to me. It doesn't mean it's not good, because I think it can always be good. But I mostly feel that this is the type of map where you can make those kind of unconventional pushes with a War Prism, a bunch of sentries, and a very quick Immortal. So I wonder if we'll see something like that. I wonder if he then implements maybe even Resonating Glaives and tries to go for like a crazy Immortal Sentry Adept push, which is not super good on some of the other maps, but I think can really work on a map where force fields can be as powerful as they are on Blackpink.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good or how bad certain openings are on this map, but all I think is that the early game won't be super aggressive on one base, because you need to go up that ramp, which allows your opponent to get the early shots on. And there is this area in between the natural and the third, which if the aggressor secures that, it's very hard for the defender to come down. Imagine you're defending up at your third, and the aggressor manages to get in between the natural and the third. It almost always goes very, very well for the aggressor. So if we're going to see something aggressive, I would think it would be like 44 probes with a fake third base 8-gate kind of view. I don't think we're going to be seeing something extremely aggressive in the first 3-4 minutes of the game. Like we're not going to see 8 Stalker push or even the 3 or 4 gate that I mentioned earlier.
We've got pretty different openings here. We see Hero opening up with the 2 adapts, as he's going to get blocked into his main base for a split second. Oh, the recall! Saved! Well done. That's kind of cute. So it's a double adept opening, which obviously now Trap is aware of. While Trap is opening up a lot safer, I almost feel that this is the Showtime way. The Sentry, Stalker, Showtime loves this, and a couple of the other. I feel like in general, this obviously, wow, he follows it up with a Stargate. Okay, so he goes first defensive, and then he follows up with a Stargate immediately. I feel this could be a tiny bit risky against somebody as aggressive as Hero, but obviously he should be on the money when it comes to making sure the adepts don't enter. And actually, Hero's following it up with double Sentry as well, so let's see where they take this.
So I'm going to let you guys do most of the talking, but I just want to interject real quick and say that Trap has lost every single series/game against Hero ever since they've been on Illegal Acts. So it's pretty one-sided. So there you go, including the last time they played in PeopleImages. So just so you guys know.
This gets a little bit interesting. The Adepts are going to block the Stalker. That's a really sick shade, actually. Well done by Hero. He gets the Stalker, loses the Adept, but I think it's safe to say that that is a trade that most Protoss players will be happy with. No?
Yeah, definitely a good enough trade. Here we go. The Phoenix Hallucination will scout that it was Forge first into Twilight, which is honestly something I've never seen before in my life. So I'm very curious what Hero's going to do with it. Maybe a very fast +2 timing.
I think maybe that is possible, but it could also be Adepts, right? Like Adepts with the +1 and just go for like a crazy, like you say, 6 or 8 game with a Prism of 2 bases.
I don't think once he knows that it will be Phoenix that's too great, because you can't really chase away the Phoenixes from the Prism then.
That's true. Yeah, let's see where he takes this. I mean, he obviously doesn't know that yet, but there are a couple of Stalkers heading towards the other side of the map. It's going to be a Blink opening at first. Now, Blink is obviously good against Phoenixes, especially defensively. There is only one issue though. This is actually kind of a scary little push, because Hero, he only has a couple of Sentries. Sentries are not good against Phoenixes. Now, 2 Phoenix is not the ideal amount. He even uses a Hallucination there. That's a kind of a cute play.
Yeah, I'm kind of digging Trap's position here, to be honest. He has even worker count right now, and he's getting Phoenixes, and it's going to be pretty hard for Hero to defend this, because Hero is afraid of something happening at the front. So he will be quite happy to stay in his natural, not send anything to the main. So I think the hero's gonna lose a bunch of probes throughout this game, and he won't really be able to deal with it. That's not really the situation you want to be in.
He does go up to 3 bases very fast. I do like the fact that he didn't take his third or fourth gas before he goes up to 3 bases when he plays against Phoenixes. Because like you say, it's kind of inevitable, especially when your blink is this late, that you're gonna lose probes. No matter who you are, no matter how freaking good you are in this game, if you don't have blink stalkers and your opponent has Phoenixes, you will end up losing probes. There's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and we see Trap actually stopping after 3 Phoenixes, which is kind of standard. Usually if you see a Robo Forge, you'll go up to 5 Phoenixes. And if you see a quicker blink, you'll stay on 3 Phoenixes. You'll still be able to one-shot the probes, but you're not investing that much into Phoenixes. You'll get the faster Immortals, which are of course very good against the blink stalkers. We see Trap actually stopping probe production altogether. So here come the gateways. He'll go up to 8 gateways and push, I guess with 8 or well, just on to 6 right now. So maybe 6 or 8 gateway push. Prism being built already, and he'll try to cancel the 3rd base or at least do some damage.
Kind of weird though to make a massive push like this without any of the Twilight upgrades. I mean, he doesn't even have a Twilight. The Adepts show up in a maybe perfect moment. At the same time, the Phoenixes are still around, so they can maybe deal with this. This is an awkward moment. Do you pick him up or not? No, he decides not to. This is a cool little push by Trap. I don't see this super often. I think it's even going to hit before his own +1. Now, obviously, just blink stalkers are not great against these Immortals. For Hero, it's all about buying time and trying to squeeze out extra units as well. I am not sure if he can keep this Nexus alive, but I'm curious to see what his approach will be.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious as well. If Hero manages to somehow keep the Nexus alive and charge finishes, he'll be able to absolutely crush this army. But Trap isn't stupid either. He'll just run in, throw down a couple of force fields, and Hero realizes that this base is pretty much dead at this point and decides to sack it.
I like the counter though. The Adepts on the other side of the map force out the recall, and they're going to be able to get quite a few probes as well. This is a really good play by Hero. Losing... Ooh. Wait, what did he recall? He recalled only a tiny bit.
Phoenixes.
Wow, now the sentries are in a very awkward spot as the sentries got traded out on the other side of the map. This game is getting hectic, but I still really like it for Hero. He did a lot of economic damage, even if he lost his Nexus. Like you said, Charge is about to finish up, and what about +2? Yes, the Immortals is scary, but I like this a lot for Hero. Even if he's down quite a bit in army supply, I think he can turn this around easily.
Yeah, the thing I'm worried about is that Trap isn't really gonna go into a longer game. Trap will just do the 2-base push with 2 Archons right now. Oh, I'm not sure why he's getting the +2, but that seems very interesting. Because he's quite far down in workers. I'm not sure if Trap understands what kind of position he is in right now, because I don't think he would get the +2 otherwise.
Jess, even though this is PvP, I think you should totally be joining us a little bit.
I mean, yeah, sure, but you guys are tossing it back and forth, so...
No, you're always invited, Jess.
Oh, thank you. No, I think that's, I mean, it's been maybe not the most obvious of games, but it has been like, okay, yeah, we got a 2-base push versus Hero. He's doing an excellent job. He, like, there are multiple times he sniped some units off with these Stalkers. Control is kind of this guy's, like, forte, right? And the Adepts were a brilliant move as well. As you get into the later game, Hero's up in workers. He's looking great there. Trap's actually going to go for an Oracle, I guess. I mean, is it just going to be for Revelation because he is trying to expand and play the long game, or is he actually going to try and get some, like, sneaky probe kills because he expects the 9-minute Oracle?
I'm a tiny bit confused. What do you think, Gav? Maybe it's just a surprise Oracle into the main base?
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Like, try to do a push at the 3rd base and at the same time go with the Oracle to the natural.
It was like 3 or 4 Stalkers for all. I mean, obviously he did a lot of damage to the prison, which is very nice. And I still like his army. Like, I don't think he should die here, especially not because he's got +2 and defender's advantage. And it is always scary to push with a prison that has like 7 HP. I honestly think the best move of this entire game was Hero's counter damage with the Adepts.
Yeah.
I honestly think that just screwed Trap quite a bit in this matchup.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think without that this game would be really, really different, because it actually killed a bunch of workers. I think like 8 or 9 workers, and it forced the recall the Phoenixes, made sure that Trap couldn't keep pushing. And his Oracle's doing decent damage, 6 workers, very nice. The game actually kind of evened out. The only advantage that Hero has right now is that his gases are a bit earlier, but everything else is pretty much even.
Yeah, that's the surprise is the surprise 9-minute Oracle, as you called it, Jess. It sort of worked. But I do still prefer the army of Hero, though. I really think Hero has a better army. And I also think it's very nice that he still has Blink. Like, I know that you don't want to make like 12 Stalkers right now as part of your composition, but I think once the numbers, like you have a big battle and the numbers start thinning out, then I think it's really nice to suddenly warp in like 8 Stalkers and you can micro a little bit. So I still kind of like it for Hero.
So I don't remember if we got your guys' opinion on like whether you also believe that the early game of PvP can just be like anyone can win. I think Trap is the one that said that. But we're getting into the later stages, and this is where both of them kind of agreed that it's more about like your skill as a player. Do you think either one just has an inherent advantage because like late game is good for them? Yeah, Hero's known so much more for his early and mid game. Trap, I'm not even sure anymore. Is this going to be a game about posturing? Do you think anyone has an advantage? Actually, this win the game here? Nah, no. Hero has super good supply, right?
Hero is really confident. I don't think he had to go off that ramp, but I think he just feels like my army is better. He's not heavy. The Prism dies though, that's massive. I still love the army of Hero. He's going to be able to take care of the Immortals, and I actually think he just got it here. Well done. I don't think he had to go off that ramp. He was confident enough that he could.
Yeah, well, it did end the game. It just wasn't the guy who was being aggressive that ended the game in his favor. GG, Hero takes the king title now as he keeps his pure, clean 100% win record against Trap. But dang, just a time to get my point out talking to the macro game. Like, why do you guys think did Trap just feel the pressure to push like that? Or did he really think that Hero was going to be kind of too scared to do what he did?
I feel like that Trap didn't really understand this position in the game too much. Like, you kill the third base and you feel like you lose like 4 or 5 workers, so that seems like a word well played for you.
He lost a lot more though, Kev. He lost like 12 or 13.
I don't think it's so. Maybe 8 or 9 then. But I still feel like that if you're playing this, it still feels kind of okay. But the thing that he didn't know was that Hero basically saved all of his probes, and he already had a lot of probes. He was on like 52, I think, 53 probes.
Yeah.
And then losing 8 or 9 probes, I guess, isn't quite as good. So Trap felt that he was ahead, probably. That's the only thing I can really think of. Or maybe he felt the need to attack because he was afraid of Hero already finishing +3 soon.
Yeah.
I really like the way that Hero utilized the fact that he had Blink, because we often talk about Blink like, yeah, Blink is good early game, you can maybe win with it, and then it can be good in defending, but it's not really that useful once the armies are big. But he was really annoying with those Stalkers, and he kind of forced Trap to make quite a few Stalkers, and at one point, Trap actually had way more Stalkers without Blink than Hero had Stalkers with Blink, while Hero was gearing up for one hell of an army of Immortals, Archons, and a crazy amount of Zealots, that even if the Archons get a couple good shots off, he still had a lot of Zealots. And while Trap is standing there with Stalkers that don't have Blink, and yeah, that's not a position you ever want to be in. I really think Hero played very well, and I honestly think that the Adept counterattack is what kind of won him the game.
Okay. So I know you guys were like Hearthstone. You specifically said like you're interested, confused, something like that about the +1 being so quick for Hero, like that builds. Did you come out appreciating that build more, or do you think that it was just so many other factors that the opener didn't really impress you or matter?
No, the opening definitely does impress me. You got the +2 lined up perfectly with charge. So I think if this game goes a bit more standard, the plan for Hero pretty much is to push with +2. And I think in some situations, he's going to have +2 against a guy who won't even have +1 yet. So I think this is a very specific build to deal with. I actually think it's quite good against Phoenixes. I think it's going to be quite good against a Blink opener as well. So yeah, I actually kind of like this build. Obviously, it would have been a loss by default against something like Dark Templar because he had no detection whatsoever. But yeah, it's definitely a very interesting build. And it's really something that, yes, it's such a typical Hero build, I feel like. It's just, you've never seen it before, and he might only play it 1 or 2 more times, but it works the times that he needs it. It's a brilliant build, I think.
Now, I do have one question for you, Kev, and I know you're already gonna smile when I start my sentence, but hear me out. Like, I think if you go, see, there he goes. I think if you play the way that Hero did, and you go Forge, and then you go Twilight, that obviously means that Blink is pretty freaking late. In my opinion, it's a mistake of Trap to stop at 3 Phoenixes. I think that is a situation where you should easily make 5 or 6 Phoenixes. I personally would make 15, but I don't want to go there. If you make 5 or 6 Phoenixes, I think you can get way more worker damage done, because how are you supposed to keep those mineral lines safe if your Blink is that freaking late? Like, what are you going to do with sentries?
Yeah, I actually, this game I maybe wouldn't have minded much, but the blink still started around 420, 415, I think. So I feel like I should be able to kind of stop it. But I agree with the sentiment. The Phoenixes were able to do a lot now. 2 more Phoenixes probably would have just been able to spend all their energy all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would have mattered too much. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't think that would have been a massive game changer, though.
I think it would have.
Well, we have a cool PvP that these guys will maybe talk, days about. But guys, you're going to be headed to a quick break before we find out the next player. But real quick, Rifkin has something to say.
Yeah, hey guys. So apologies for this one. There's actually not going to be. Oh bother, that's not something you guys should be able to see right now. We let me try and hide that before that doesn't spoil everything. But anyways, we don't have an interview ready to go for this next player because he doesn't have a microphone. Screen regions are so cool, and Skype's the worst program in the universe, so some of you know who's coming up next, but try not to spoil yourselves for those who didn't quite catch it, as we'll be going to a small break here. Yeah, we'll play the guessing game when we get back, but it's 2 minutes of ads while we get set up with the players, so do me a favor, first and foremost, if you haven't yet, consider hitting !Matcherino in chat, and pop in that PSL2 code. As you can see, we got over 900 codes still available to add to the prize pool. We want to bring this up to at least $8,000 before it's all said and done. But of course, this whole tournament, this group of people we've been able to hang out with, cast, commentate, watch, this is all made possible thanks to the fine folks on PeopleImages.com. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in the sponsors, or type !PSL in the chat. Until then, I'll update the brackets in a moment. We'll get back to the King of the Hill action soon, and we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Thanks for the break. Thanks for watching. All right, folks, we're back. Roddy's unfortunately just taking a quick break, so he's going to miss out on the oh-so-fun guessing game. But the casters luckily didn't get this spoiled, despite the audience getting it spoiled. So, for the next player coming up on this King of the Hill, I've got some good news for one person in this cast, maybe not so good for the other two, as it's a Terran player on deck. Zombie Grub.
Hey.
Finally get you some action here in the stream. Of course, this Terran player is one of the top echelon of Terrans. He is probably best known for a nickname that has the word God in it. But if you haven't figured it out by now, yes, exactly. None other than the one and only Storm Gaming's Gumiho, with the next player coming up here on the cast.
I think actually the funnest part about this game is not the guessing that we have to do. It's, what hit does Rifkin come up with?
It's difficult to not give it away, honestly. Like, 'cause it's so, like, how would you do this otherwise? We won one GSL match against so-and-so in 2013.
It is tough.
Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, you have to do, like, something really obscure. But, yeah, if you really wanted to give us a challenge, you do all this, like, you're already doing the observing and the production and the coordinating and everything. Like, I really think you should just add a whole hour or two to your schedule to make sure the hints are about as, obscure as possible. If you could just do that for us, Rifkin, that'd be really great.
well, we got Roddy back, so I'll go ahead and mute myself. We're actually getting into the lobby now. I'll actually get Zombie up here. I hosted this while we were on break, and I will be disappearing back to the shadows, guys.
Okay. Welcome back, Roddy. So, I don't know if you heard who the player was, but it is going to be Hero versus Gumiho. PVT on Catalyst. This was Gumiho's map choice, being the new contender. Again, reminder, guys, use that code in the Matcherino PSL2. So big thanks to PeopleImages for doing all of this, basically. But remind about the format: 2 qualification spots, who gets the most wins in the King of the Hill, and who is King of the Hill at the very end. So, Hero either gets maybe 4 to kind of secure, maybe lock down that spot, or he just wins to the end, which would be kind of awkward. Similar as how Brainer made it awkward. I think this actually, last time this happened, we did have someone win like 9 out of 10. So like the guy who lost first ended up taking the other qualifier spot. It could certainly happen. Oh, I got host now. Big boss. Triple checking that we have everyone in the lobby. You guys are in here?
Yep, I'm joining right now.
Okay.
So what I wonder about is Gumiho is obviously a very fun player. A lot of the European Terrans have starting to believe a tiny bit more in mech. Now, most of their reasoning is mech is not good, but bio isn't either, so they may as well. That's the logic that I've heard. But we all know that Gumiho is kind of the master of mech. Like, he's always been freaking good with his mech builds in the other matchups. Could we potentially see some mech against Protoss here?
I think that we could, but give me a full surprise as we're about to find out which surprise he has in store for Hero as we go into Catalyst. If there is a paywall to listen to the map intro conversations, I feel like it'd be worth $10 easy. Guys, it's game number 3 here in this very odd but interesting tournament. In the top left, he's the new contender. It is the Blue Terran, Gumiho.
Kaf, go ahead.
Oh, and in the bottom right, currently the king of the hill. It is none other than the smiling assassin, Roots Hero.
Hey, 2 great nicknames here. Smiling Assassin and the Gumi God. Roddy was talking about mech, how it is possible, and Gumiho is, I mean, I think he was, along with maybe Supernova years and years ago, like think about like Deadwing, like one of the guys that did kind of make the idea of mech versus Protoss, something that was not just found on ladder. But obviously, like, it really comes and goes. Like, yeah, I think a lot of Terrans were depressed when 4.0 came out, so there was a lot of experimentation, but that kind of died off as, you know, Protoss got nerfed and Terrans got a little more accustomed. And now we're into, like, really far past that 4.0 patch, where if Gumiho brings it out, it usually still depends a bit on that shock factor, as much, you know, not as much on the actual execution factor.
Something very funny happened here. Gumi hit his barracks on in a different spot, and Hero immediately assumed, probably because it's Gumiho as well, that it was a proxy, and he actually built a pylon at the ramp immediately and started a second gas. And now as a reaction, he already scouted that it is actually the barracks in base, but I think he's gonna run a zealot across the map. But this was not his plan whatsoever. Like this is a reaction, and I don't think this is really what he wanted to do at all.
I wonder what he's going to do with this probe right now that's on the other side of the map. I almost have the feeling that if Hero has a start like this, he's not just going to leave it at this, and he's not just going to drop the Nexus. So it's a Stargate before an expand, and could potentially be multiple oracles with some gateway pressure as well. I mean, we saw SOS do this once against Maru, actually, at the Industry Masters Katowice, where you don't make 1 or 2 oracles, but you make more oracles, and you try to win the game. But now he did just sacrifice his probe, so maybe that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, like, Stargate openers, they're certainly not bad. Even proxy Stargate doesn't have to be, well, it can still be effective, I guess is the better way to put it, but obviously Stargate was nerfed quite a while ago at this point. This is a very obnoxious opener. Gumiho is going for the at least 1-1 so far. I was gonna just, you know, automatically habitually say 1-1-1, but we're on a Cyclone only. No Starport quite yet. We'll see if he even adds that on at all. Maybe trying to go for a 3cc and wasn't expecting the Zealot pressure, but now adds the Starport. There we go.
This is kind of nice. I mean, this is a lot of delay, obviously, on this command center, but it's about to end with the moment that the Cyclone pops. And now it's the real question is, will Gumiho expect a Stargate as fast as it was? Because this Oracle is gonna arrive a lot faster than it normally would arrive if you drop the Stargate. But that's not gonna happen. I really wonder. I think potentially if these Cyclones move out, the Stargate has a lot of freedom to do some damage, but so far Gumiho is not sending that Cyclone towards the other side of the map, so maybe he won't end up losing too many SCVs.
Yeah, I think this actually is a really good situation for Gumiho right now. Probe count's basically even, Nexus still not done, and second orbital already finished. This Oracle will get 2 to 3 kills, I guess. Yeah, there goes the 3rd kill.
At 4, I think he should have just gone for the 4th, because he's going to lose his Oracle. Anyway, the Oracle dies. Running away from Cyclones is not the greatest idea. I think if he keeps it, I mean, this one SCV had 1 HP. I think he could have got 2 more SCVs there. Yeah. And yes, the Oracle dies. And it's one of those funny moments, right? Because as a player, you never want to be that guy that's like, well, here goes my Oracle, I'm just losing it. So it's like your instinct to always save it. But sometimes you just got to say goodbye to your children and like let them go down with the ship and take down 2 more SCVs there.
Yeah.
It's that moment of children first. It's a me, myself, and I, and then children maybe. But actually, like, speaking of like sacrificing things, we do have a very like tough thing to hold against. With the Marines even coming with against the Stalkers, and already corralling the Stalkers away from any safety. Even the probes being pulled at this point, he can just back into the Stalkers. Like, Gumiho is gonna do tons of damage.
Yeah, no shield battery in the natural. Stalkers were on move command. This is an absolute disaster. I think he's gonna end up losing so much here, if not just straight up. Well, he's not gonna lose a game with 6 Stalkers, but I think this is gonna be a very, very painful exchange for Hero.
A little bit of mess up on the micro there. The medevac's not being targeted, so a perfect opportunity really to micro the Cyclone, but it does look like either way they're going to be cleaned up. Maybe getting the medevac would have been a little bit tougher for Gumiho to accept, since that that still provides some control here. Although with the Phoenix, he really wants to grab that Phoenix and hope that Hero doesn't make another one so he can get out of there. But it's a loser.
Good crisis management there by Hero, because with his Stalkers on 2 sides, I think that could have got very ugly. So I think he handled that very well. He cleaned up the Cyclones, he cleaned up all these units, and it's safe to say that he's going to try to counter, because he also proxied a pylon. Now there is a bunker, there is a tank out as well. So I have a hard time believing that these gateway units can really get a whole lot done here. But I'm kind of impressed with how he handled that, because we've seen games just end there. If you don't have a battery, the Marines and the Cyclones show up when you don't expect it, you end up losing a Stalker before it all starts. So well done, but he's still in a world of trouble.
Yeah, he really is, and we see a random Cyclone making it to the other way of the map, cancelling a pylon, and now is attempting to assassinate the Nexus as well. Don't think that plan will succeed, but
it's a lot of damage. I mean, that thing's gonna finish with like half health. And
Phoenix can save it here.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Phoenix can save it. There you go. But that's like a little worrying, because if there is gonna be a tank push down that left side, then suddenly this is like 5 less tank shots to kill now, which is gonna be a big difference when you want to buy time.
I actually think another great thing about that Cyclone move was that it pulled the Stalkers back, so now Gumiho can just safely move across the map with his 2 tanks without having to siege, unsiege, and lose 5-6 Marines while he's on his way there. Hero is kind of scared. He should be scared, because he has no clue what's happening whatsoever.
Can goes down, it's just a couple of Stalkers without blink. I mean, the Phoenix did snipe that Liberator on the right side of the map, so that's very good. But it's going to be very hard, and this is exactly what you said, Jess. This Nexus already took a little bit of a beating. Gumiho, what are you going to do? Are you going to fight the units, or are you going to go for the Nexus? He's going to fight the units instead, gets all the sentries very quickly, and Hero is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Vikings on the ground are so much better than they ever were before against Mechanical, but actually getting the Zealots mostly, so the Stalkers, I thought all of them were going to be dead for sure against tanks and Vikings. A surprising number live, and he saves the Nexus. I mean, every time I think Gumiho is just playing this master game, constant pressure, Hero manages to pull a defense out of somewhere.
Yeah, that's another good hold by Hero. I'm not in love with his position, like Kevin said as well. It's even in workers. When do you ever want to be even in workers? But he does have that 3rd Nexus, he saves it. He still doesn't have any Twilight upgrades, and that's a big problem, because that normally gives you a lot of wiggle room, gives you a lot of micro potential. He doesn't have all of that, so I think the real push of Gumiho is still going to be very tough to deal with. But I'm impressed with how Hero has been playing this out of very awkward scenarios, and it really feels like nothing is going Hero's way, but he still is sort of alive, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. It felt like the way that Gumiho did that push, like there was no bunkers there or no SCVs, and he didn't really reinforce it. Really felt like, let's see if I can win the game with this, and otherwise I'll win with my next push kind of thing. But he can't really afford more moves like this. I still think, like Rotti mentioned, that he's in a good position, but do one more move like this and Hero's actually gonna be ahead, I feel like, because the 3rd CC is pretty late. Hero is getting that Colossus count. Once Extended Thermal Lens finishes, I think he's going to be safe, but before that it's going to be a little bit scary.
Against the tanks though, it's so tough, right? Even if you do get Thermal Lens. Now there isn't that much bio here. Maybe this is Hero's moment, just go before the reinforcements arrive. Nah, he decides to change his mind. It's obviously very awkward to engage without charge, without blink, before +1. But the longer you wait, the more tough it's going to get to run into all those tanks as well.
Yeah, and he managed to save some Stalkers early on. Obviously, there was a lot lost, and he's not replacing them as much as he wants to get these Zealots buffering. Ideally, maybe some of a surround to be better with these Zealots. They're not charge lots. and the shield batteries are all gone. With the stalkers being such a low number, there are Vikings on the way. So not only do you have tanks fighting on this Colossus, but potentially Vikings that aren't going to die very quickly. Nexus is targeted down, so Gumio, I mean, I think already pretty happy with that. His third CC is turning into orbital now. Just needs to worry about taking the actual army fight, which I think he could.
Yeah, but there's no need for Gumio to unsiege all of his tanks and run into it, right? Like, he's doing great at this point, and let's make sure that if they do fight, that it's at least some sort of a trade, because trading is obviously fantastic for Terran if it's 3 bases against 2.
Well, he's going to go in for it. As I said, those aren't charge lots, and in fact, they clump up on a group of Marines, the tanks just absolutely blast them away. Surely to follow the sentries, and right after that, it was the Colossus. And he's just going to rush in and take care of them. A lot of Marines actually get chomped down. 2 Colossus, still some hefty fire, but it's good enough. Gumio's going to win this game.
Yeah. I like the way that Hero played, because it really felt almost everything went wrong, and he still had 2 good bolts, but that didn't change the reality of the situation. That this was simply not good, because he had no Twilight upgrade. He didn't have a powerful army. He was in the dark. I think what Kevin said is very important as well. That one random cyclone made it so easy for Gumio to indeed, keep Hero guessing. And every time Hero had a plan, it felt like he could never execute his plan. Early on, didn't really work out. Stalker push, nope, didn't really work out because he was the one getting pushed instead. Then when he wanted to move out again, a random cyclone ruins his plans. It was kind of just one of those games that if you're Hero, you want to forget about real quickly, because just nothing went your way from that very first scout that Kev mentioned as well, where he's like, oh my god, I'm getting proxy barracks, it's a 1 base, and actually, no, it's not. And he saw that just a little bit too late.
Last stand here, it looks like his charge finally did finish up, but they don't even really get on top of the tanks. They get mowed down before that. So there's a tap out, and so far, no one's able to take more than 1 game apiece. Gumio taking this one. This is going to get interesting if they keep on swapping back and forth. As I said, the qualifiers are a little different this time, so.
I say this has to stop, and we're sending in Raynor.
Perfect. I do believe we're going to be finding out very quickly who our next player is, but yeah, just to recap, that was Gumio's game from the get-go, but I really appreciate that Gumio didn't overextend. Harson kind of mentioned he didn't bring those SCVs, so he didn't really all in with the tank push. He could have really thought he was in a better position than he was, not gotten a bunker, not done the tank push, or went for a faster 3rd CC or something. And that's where Hero's Miracle holds. Do something, bring him back. Gumio actually just made it look like he was playing a very normal game, and he just happened to stumble upon all of these great gifts given to him. The barracks being a secret, the successfully a secret, I should say, and the tank push being as successful as was, the cyclone doing the thing that it did. Otherwise, Gumio was playing a normal TVP. Okay, actually, we do have the interview already ready to go. So, guys, let's find out who the next player is.
Yeah, so a little bit of tease for that guessing game. Rifkin's back on the horn. We also will have an interview with this player, but just note, Gumio still does not have a microphone. This is where you need to tweet at Sidestorm Gaming, buy Gumio a microphone. But the next player coming up is another pretty fantastic player. There are no schmucks in this lineup, and this guy, he's also Terran. There's your first big hint.
TY.
Yes. But maybe let me get a couple more hints in, Roddy. But no, Roddy, I like the shotgun approach actually, because he does have a chance of looking really awesome if he gets it on the first try, or he bottoms out like with what happened with Zest. Either way, yes, the question was answered. TY is going to be coming up next. And I'm pretty stoked about this one, but we're going to be hopping over to the interview. Once again, we got Crank joining us. So as we swap over, hopefully I've not messed anything up. Hey, Crank.
Hi.
So I hear you've got a good player on the call with us.
Yeah, next player will be TY.
Pretty good player from what I've heard. Hello, TY.
Hello.
You've got TVT versus Gumio. First question. What map do you want?
일단은 도전자가 맵을 정하는 대회이기 때문에 일단 테라테전 고병재님 상대로 무슨 맵 고르실래요?
글쎄요. 근데 태태전이라 솔직히 맵이 상관이 없어서 뭘로 할까요, 크랭크님?
맵 상관없으면은 A 바이오 한번 가시죠.
A바이오 가겠습니다.
He said that since it's TVT map doesn't really matter, so he want me to pick. So I suggest A Biogenesis, and he said he's gonna play that. So A Biogenesis.
Good guy Crank picking the worst map. But okay, cool. So for TY, man, I can't even bombard you with enough questions to ask him. I love this guy. He's such a good player. I guess to go for the general question first, though, TVT. Does TY like or does TY hate the fact that Cyclones and Ravens are such a big part of the matchup now?
태태전에서 이제 사이클론이랑 밤까마귀가 차지하는 비율이 굉장히 높은데 그 부분에 대해서 뭐 태태전을 좋아하는지 아니면 싫어하는지 한번 대답을 해주시죠.
근데 다른 종전에 비해서 뭔가 좀 태태전은 서로 같은 유닛을 갖고 싸우는 거기 때문에 뭔가 되게 공평하다는 생각에 저는 태태전을 좀 좋아하는 편이에요.
It doesn't really matter since TVT you gotta use the same unit as your opponent to use, so it seems fair for him, so he likes TVT.
All right. Well, hey, also on that note, can you ask him? I'd love to. This is a personal question. How did he feel about the tank drops? Was he happy when it got changed, or does he miss them?
이건 또 개인적인 질문인데 그 예전에 그 의료선이 이제 택뇨선이 있었었는데 그거가 다시 이제 롤백이 돼서 이렇게 된 게 더 좋은지 아니면 그 옛날 시절이 그리우신지.
전 개인적으로 옛날 시절 좀 그립고요. 지금 만약 택뇨선이 됐다면 히드라는 정말 탱크 한 발도 못 때렸을 겁니다.
He missed the past that you can lift the tank and move around.
Yes.
And if he can still use that Medivac tank, Hydra couldn't even touch tank at all.
Could you tell him that he was already one of my favorite players, but now he is number one in my heart?
그때 리프킨이 굉장히 좋아했다고 전태양 선수를.
저도 그때 제가 가장 잘하는 줄 알았습니다.
He thought he was the best player in the world when it was the tank. Medivac could pick the tank.
Yeah, that was really good times. I guess a bit of a question about TY because he is like one of the best players in the world too, with or without tanks. Does he ever get nervous still going up on stage and things, or is that just second nature now?
탱크 드랍이 있든 없든 되게 지금 잘하는 선수신데 지금 요즘도 뭐 이제 무대에 오르면은 뭐 긴장이 되고 그러시는지 아니면은 요즘은 그런 느낌이 전혀 없는지.
요즘은 좀 부담이 많이 되더라고요. 작년에는 좀 블리즈컨을 확정을 지어서 좀 편했는데 지금 아직 블리즈컨 가기엔 굉장히 좀 위험한 상황이라 대회 때 부담이 좀 되더라고요.
In 2017, he won Iron World Championship, so he got the spot for BlizzCon so early, so he didn't feel any nervous or like pressure to play any tournament. But in 2018, he still didn't get the spot for BlizzCon so far, so he feels nervous and pressure to play tournament.
Oh, interesting. Well, I hope he does well. I'd love to see more of him. I guess we'll start wrapping things up and get into game in a moment, but I guess do you want to see if he has any words for Gumiho? Anything he wants to say to him even though he's not here?
고병재 선수한테 한마디 시청자분들이 들을 수 있게 한마디 좀 해주시죠.
글쎄요. 전략을 굉장히 잘 만드시는데 프로토스전에 좋은 전략 한번 만들어 주셨으면 좋겠어요.
He didn't mention about TVT at all. TY just asked Gumio since Gumio is really good. He always make good strategy against Protoss. So TY wants Gumio makes more strategy against Protoss for TY.
Okay. Actually, I said that was gonna be the last question, but I actually have just one very last question. When he plays against teammates like Stats and Solar, is it more difficult because they're teammates, or is it easier because he knows how they want to play, from being and talking to them?
이제 팀킬 할 때 그 김대엽, 강민수 이런 선수들이랑 할 때 자신을 더 잘 아니까 조금 까다로운지 그게 그게 서로를 잘 알기 때문에 더 쉬운지 아니면은 팀킬이라서 좀 까다로운지.
제가 볼 땐 서로 잘 알고 그러면은 항상 그 종족 따라가는 거야. 종족 상성 따라가는 것 같은데 테란 그러니까 저 같은 경우에는 테란이다 보니까 강민수 선수한테 좀 편하고 종족상 그리고 좀 김대엽 선수한테 까다로운 그런 것 같아요.
So since they know each other very well, he feels like I don't know how to explain. Like Terran is strong against Zerg, and Zerg is strong against Protoss. Protoss is strong against Terran. So TY thinks in team kill, he thinks it follows the rule. Like TY is good against Sora, but he's bad against stats, something like that. So
all right, that's fair. Well, tell TY I said good luck, I guess, and we're gonna send it back to the casters. So thank you very much again, Crank, for helping do all this.
네, 이제 게임 들어가시면 될 것 같아요.
All right, guys, back to you here in the desk. Before I mute myself real quick, we are a little bit behind schedule for the stream, so quick apologies for not doing a bunch of shoutouts and stuff today. We're just trying to bim, bam, boom get through this, as we got a lot of really good players still on deck. So with that, I will happily mute myself and send it back to you, Zombie Group.
All right, thank you. So players are already in the lobby. Just real quick recap for you guys. That Abigenis was only picked because TY didn't care. It was TVT and he said he didn't care. So he let Crank decide, and Crank decided Abiogenesis. So players already, and let's hop into this TVT.
I'm actually surprised by like how chill and relaxed some of these guys are. I mean, like there's still money on the line, even though a lot of money if you can make it very deep into this tournament. You would expect TY to have a preference, even if it is TVT. Like, you know, no matter how good you may be in the matchup, a Biogenesis is a completely different ballgame than the Backwater, which is completely different than, let's say, Blackpink or whatever. So I'm a little bit surprised that he doesn't have like the slightest preferences.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, I think flashbacks to all the really back and forth Abigenesis TVTs that we got to see even in Nation Wars, I mean, Urati. So this could be a very fun one. As Abigenesis, there's one thing you can say about it, and it creates very dynamic games no matter what the matchup is. So, all right, we're into it. Bottom right, as the red Terran, it is Gumiho.
And top left, that's the blue Terran, it is Splices TY.
That's right, Harsum. Take it away on your TVT.
I actually know a fair amount about TVT since we were in Nation Wars, and of course I was with two Terrans. Like I heard a lot about TVT, how it works, early game. Like I mainly know about the early game, the later stage of the game. I don't know too much about, but I actually know a fair amount about the early opener. So we see Gumio opening with the double gas, for example, and if he pulls 2 SCVs out of gas. Once he starts his factory, that means he's going to go for a single Cyclone expand, and then after that he can go into anything still, but that's according to my Dutch Terran friend, one of the better builds. I've played some TVTs myself. Like it's when they spoke about it, it sounded so cool and like so logical that I was like, all right, I'm gonna play some TVTs. And I'm actually kind of decent in TVT. I think I'm like 5'8", 5'9" with TVT now. So
Ooh, really?
Yeah. I know how to play the matchup. Like especially the early game. After that, I drop off, but I win most of my early games.
That's actually really good. I've been playing a little bit of TVT as well, and I really don't know anything. So I just open up with a bunch of Cyclones, a proxy starport, and then I put a Liberator in the main, and then I make a second Liberator, and then I just rush their natural, and I siege 2 Liberators on top of their Cyclones, and we have a little Cyclone Hellion battle. Marvelous build.
Oh boy, I love listening to people who don't usually play Terran going for the openers, because like I feel like all the mirror matchups, honestly, like anyone who swaps between races is gonna have like these very interesting takes on the matchups. Like like my PvP is atrocious, but it's like atrociously funny. So I imagine it's like TVT for a lot of other people, because it's such a weird matchup when Cyclones are like before Cyclones really like found their grips in the matchup because they had their anti-air changed. It was maybe a little bit more typical. Like you'd really tell what's going on. It wasn't so dynamic. But then the Cyclones came, and now it's like Cyclones could literally end the game. They could literally make you the most offensive person in the world. Like very extreme. But we do have that one base versus opener versus 2. Like he didn't take the guys out of gas. You're absolutely right about that, Harsum. Gumio does sometimes like to go for that build. He also sometimes likes going for the reactored Cyclones, but going for 1 base on Abigenesis is probably the safest way to play. TY going for 2 base does want to add on those Cyclones, and he is going for that reactor build. So probably, he might even do a fast 3rd CC, which seems so dangerous, but if he survives the early stage, then he'll be fine to do it.
Seems a little bit risky by TY, right? We only have a single Reaper for it's only like 10 or 11 seconds. If those Reapers from Gumio who just jumped on it immediately as one Reaper is super low on HP, good micro there. Gets the Marine, well done, that wasn't that easy. But it really felt that if he would have jumped on top of the Reaper immediately, you'd be forced to pull SCPs, because even if it's only 6 seconds till your Cyclone jumps out, we all know what 2 Reapers can do against an empty base in 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's certainly not, you're not wrong. Like, it probably is theoretically safer, but by going for the Marine second instead and getting that reactor as fast as possible, now he has like a pretty strong counter.
I don't understand why he's doing this. He has no idea what he's playing against. He hasn't stopped one time. He's gonna end up losing. Well, actually, that somehow worked out. But now the bench is still up. A little bit risky though.
No, you're right.
It's risky though, right? Because he has no idea what he's playing against.
I think what TUI though is saying basically is because he's opened up with reactor Cyclones and he successfully he didn't take any damage. Wow. Oh no, he's not gonna save that Cyclone, but some really cool micro battle. Basically, even if he were to throw away those 2 Cyclones, like it was a complete disaster. He missed microed, whatever. The other 2 Cyclones are on the way or fine. He even opened up with the engineering bay because he is playing into a bit greedier of a build. So he just throws down the missile turrets, and that secures whatever attempts you want to take at being aggressive with Cyclones. Otherwise, yes, the Banshee could just counter and win the game even.
If Gumio had like one more Cyclone there, then I think it would have been a total disaster because he wouldn't have killed anything. He's still moving out. Obviously, getting the kill on the Banshee is massive. This game is going to go crazy. There isn't much in the air natural for TY. The Cyclones are going to drive on top of the tank. Good micro as well. He pulls it back, but the other units are coming in from behind. Man, both players are playing really well. There's a lot of very dicey moments, but Gumio will clean this up. What happened to his second bench? He didn't get any.
He pulled back, yeah. I think he was taking that threat like seriously. So he also probably is at this point saying, okay, TY probably has missile turrets. It just would be very shocking for him not to when he's playing aggressively with these Cyclones. But like Gumio is playing such a dangerous style. Like when they open up Cyclones like this, you really do have to call the Cyclone count. The fact that he has 2 Reapers and a Hellion still alive is a huge difference with how some of these went. Like that tank dying, those Reapers and Hellions don't come back. That might just be like too much damage. But instead, he's able to hold on, keep the count low, and even have a pretty decent 2-base push that TY, needs to micro very, very well against. Get some early damage here before it really gets set up.
Love the way he activated Cloak there after those Cyclones locked on. There wasn't a scan available. Now with your tank in range, this is going to be a little bit awkward for TY. He's going to have to be very patient. A bunker being thrown up as well. I like this by Gumio. I don't feel like the early game really worked out for him, but I'm really feeling this too.
Yeah. There's a 3rd Banshee coming over as well, so here we have Gumio really banking on there not being any Vikings, and well, it all works out for him. TY needs to lift his CC right now, and he's in a pretty bad position.
So if I'm not mistaken, TY tried to go over into Hellions. I mean, it's part like you are deciding to go into the next stage of TVT, but also you just have to. You can't really afford a 3rd CC extra production and Cyclone still. But that is a legitimate problem that he tried to go on to the next stage without taking this 2-base push like seriously or not realizing that was going to happen. If he had 4 Cyclones instead of 2 Cyclones and 2 Hellions, he probably could have nipped this in the bud.
Oh, this is so painful. That Cyclone got taken out by the tank. So much damage on all the SCVs as well. TY not mining. He was pretty far ahead economically before this started. He's in a pretty awful position now. He's not mining. Man, Gumio is just putting on a masterclass of how to make use of the type of map that you're playing on as well. And this push would have never worked on like Backwater or Neon Violet, but it really does work here on the Biogenesis.
It's pretty worth losing the Marines to take out a Liberator. But also we'll lose a Banshee. No, maybe 2 Banshees? No, the Viking was taken out. Oh, that's even bigger though maybe than the Liberator. He's gonna try and break it, but he has so few units.
There's nothing that TY can do anymore. GG. Gumio. Even though he had a rough start, it felt like, and losing that first Banshee when you go Cloak and you open 1 base against 2, normally such a big deal. This follow-up push was deadly. The execution was great, and TY just wasn't in any position to deal with it.
Yeah, that was not how that usually goes, basically. Again, I just want to reiterate how cool it is that Gumio kept his opening units alive. They are dead, they are sacrificed, and they played a huge role in keeping him alive against the Cyclones.
Yep.
And then TY playing this style didn't accommodate, I think, enough for this opener, because usually the Cyclone player gets a good, if they get a good start like that, usually it's a good mid game too. And actually Gumio just like turned it on its head by going for more Banshees and just doing that push on Genesis. Like Gumio is such a, well, he's a Gumi god. So even though TY is a Terran god as well, Gumio proves that, well, TVT is still a fantastic matchup for him. So
it's obviously easy like to, you know, analyze things after it all happened, but I think looking back at that final push, I think what TY should have done is, no matter how painful it is, you pull the SCVs immediately,
right?
And I think you fight before the tanks are sieged up. And that's obviously easy to analyze it afterwards. I mean, it's very hard to make that call in the moment, but it's safe to say the moment that those tanks were sieging up, the moment that Bonk was set up, that's almost unbreakable in that phase in the game.
It is. I absolutely agree with you. I think his best bet was to do that. Again, if he had gone for even one more Cyclone, but obviously 2 would be great. But if he had one more Cyclone, I think that he does. I think he looked at his army though and was like, oh, this is like mostly Hellions. This isn't that great. So he thought maybe time would be on his side. But nah, that was a perfect opportunity on a perfect map. And I'm very excited to see who you're going to come out next, because Gumio finally actually takes more than one map. He has broken the streak so far of 1-1-1-1. Actually, I guess we are ready to find out. So take it away, Rifkin.
Yeah, so real quick, guys, there's no interview for this match or the next one, sadly. So you'll have to saddle back on the player interviews. But we can still do these little teases, because next up, we got another Terran, so some more TVT action.
I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet.
Roddy's just gonna like shotgun out all these Terrans. Actually, what you should do is start naming totally like random names from like Europe. Like, Cass.
No? Braddock?
Yeah, well, dude, how sick would that be? It means he's in Korea playing, right? But yeah, this next player coming up is another Terran. So another TVT, but as Zombie Garb had said, Gumiho now secures a second win, which means we would have a second place decider if Gumiho gets knocked off. He currently holds title for 1 or 2 spots. But this guy plays in almost every tournament we get to cast, from Alima League to even some of the foreign cups with Corsair Cup. That kind of, it nails it down to 2, though. It's not even just 1, because Keen and Alive both fit this description.
Okay.
So the question is, which of these 2 could it possibly be?
Where does he put his missile turrets?
Yeah, where does he put his missile turrets is a great question that ends up being the perfect guess, because, ladies and gentlemen, he puts them on the outside of his mineral lines. It's Alive coming up next.
Alive missile turrets.
He actually needs to take a quick break. So that's a little awkward for us on our side, but that's okay. This was in his commercials. I'm going to tweak some stuff here with production on my side while we do it. But thank you guys for watching, and I guess we'll be back here in just 2 minutes as soon as Live is back. He has told me, though, he wants the map Catalyst for this. So we'll get everything sorted, and we'll see you guys in a minute.
Welcome back, everyone. We finally have someone to take more than a single map, and it is because he's a god. In the top left on Catalyst, now up against Alive, he is Gumiho.
And in the bottom right, it is the new challenger who picked Catalyst as his first map. It's gonna be Alive.
I like seeing, Caster Chicken, right? So TVT on Catalyst, Alive's map for speaking contender. But guys, never forget, this is sponsored by PeopleImages. Check out the sites. It's got a lot of images, and it's high quality stuff. And they are putting on a fantastic tournament with some interesting, unfair but fun unfair qualifiers for an ultimate tournament. That's why you get to see so many amazing players for every single region. We already had NA and EU, plus to get amazing casters in, so definitely support them. And don't forget the Matcherino, exclamation point Matcherino in chat, and then use the code. We still have a lot to use, so if you don't know, just type it in the little box once you log in. It's super easy to do. Chat will help you out, and it'll go a long way in supporting the players, as well as just generally, more StarCraft too. This tournament's always awesome. It's been a little like bing bang boom. If you missed the other series, they're like just the recent couple of days, but they've all been really cool. Rainer getting the 10-0 is a pretty hype story. And
yeah.
We have today all of these fantastic Koreans. You guys don't know the full lineup, but I think already you can be pretty happy with how these have gone. We've seen Hero and TY, and they've been knocked out. Some of the best players in the world, by our reliable online heroes at this point. You know, Gumio, he's not really the GSL contender that he was a year ago, but he is so solid when it comes to online tournaments and so solid when it comes to TVT.
Yeah, it's the European one with Reina was really sick to watch. I went over it a little bit later, watched all 10 games, and I didn't actually know the scores yet. So I was like, this one, it's gonna end one day, right? And it just kept on going. It's so cool. And I really want to give a shout out as well, because the contact person, the guy behind PeopleImages, it's not just that he's throwing up a tournament and it's like, oh, let's see what these people do. That man loves StarCraft, and I always think it's really cool when, you know, you're dealing with adults, you're dealing with successful people that have set up a company, but he just loves StarCraft, and he doesn't have to do all of this, but he just wants to see, you know, a StarCraft tournament. He wants to put his name of the company to a StarCraft tournament, and I think that's super freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and he hit Masters. What a man! What a man! All right, let's talk about the game, because this game has been going on for a little bit. We see Alive opening up with one base, and was most likely going to produce. Oh, he does drop a command center on the high ground, so it's very safe. While Gumio is a little more crazy this game, as he's going to drop his command center on the low ground.
Yeah, very curious. Alive, I'm checking his vision, right? Like, oh, while I was saying like all the, you know, shoutouts and whatnot, I noticed the Reaper fight, which is kind of comical, but I'm looking at Alive's vision right now, and I'm like not even sure what happened, that he didn't see the command center, yet he saw the factory. I guess he got in because Cloud Eagle wall off was done. So he might have misread the situation. Otherwise, there's really no reason for his command center to be in the high ground, considering that his factory was, you know, it was a factory expand. It's kind of safe.
SCV with SCV. That's the coolest Tug of War I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it's so dumb. Oh, that was so infuriating. Okay, this is a lifetime to shine though. Like seriously, like if he takes 1 second to deal with that and doesn't do this counter, it's a missed opportunity. But it looks like 2 seconds already gonna be out anyways, because he kept his Reapers alive. Obviously, Gumi just gave away his. There was maybe a moment, but the moment's gone. Get out of there.
And we actually do see the Raven starting for Gumio right now. On the other hand, we have Alive with the Reactor Cyclone. Finally floating his steel command center down. Probably will turn it into an orbital.
Let's hope so. I mean, if that's a planetary, I'm gonna check, you know, and make sure Alive is looking okay.
There's no eBay yet, so it was a safe call.
Okay.
The Raven, actually, we didn't get to see that at all last game, the CVT, and it actually has been really, I think, making its way through the rounds. You know, Cyclones kind of, you see them on ladder, of course, first, and how prevalent they can be, and then all the games that are cast suddenly become Cyclone Wars, then people figure out Cyclones. Well, the Raven's kind of becoming that unit. The Raven is really obnoxious on ladder. There's a ton of, like, timing builds you can do with it. It's so annoying, because the early game of TVT is so much based off of very few but important units that interference matrix is so powerful. I think it's going to be more and more obnoxious, more and more of what TVT is going to be revolved around as time goes on. But luckily for us, the Koreans especially still like their 2-1-1 openers, their faster stim openers. So Gumio really changing things up from last game, is playing a bit more defensive. He's still going to be going into stim.
These Cyclones actually just go up there, and they get the kill on the Raven just like that. I didn't expect that. That was a very easy pickup, and obviously a very juicy pickup, because Ravens are expensive. And I love it, Jess. You just have an entire speech.
I know, right?
Like the impact of the Raven, Cyclone show up, bam, it all.
That's like, I mean, it's like, jokes aside about Cyclones, man. I guess Cyclones still want to be they're like a spoiled brat, man. They're like, I'm the TVT master. But you really aren't supposed to lose that Raven. You want to really emphasize that. It might seem like, oh, okay, you lose a single Viking, maybe that's not the biggest deal, but a Raven really is expensive. It takes a long time to build too, and like Gumio really wanted that, so that's got to be a sore spot.
I kind of like this for our life. I think his third orbital is quite a bit quicker, even though he's been down a couple of SCVs. We do have 2 Cyclones sneaking out via the left side. Now, it is obviously important that Alive eventually picks up on it, but he's got plenty of Marines in the natural. Shouldn't take too much damage from it.
There's
I
also
wonder
a Viking in
has
main right now, which is just going absolutely mental, killing 3-4 workers right now. Is a rogue Viking, then 2 rogue Cyclones. Might actually get that tank kill that is just being rallied down. So very interesting move by Gumio, really being quite sneaky with his units, I want to say, but nets himself a tank kill and 5 to 6 SCVs.
Wow. Even a few more sick micro on these. Oh my goodness, Gumio, that was awesome. He got 7 SCV kills in total. Both Cyclones live. Now, obviously, Alive is very angry about that, so he's sending a Cyclone and a Reaper down. And this is where you recall your Cyclones.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for the same thing, you know, them turning blue, and then I realized that.
Yeah.
This is not Protoss.
What a life. Yeah, I would have liked to expect that. So I feel like it is still worth to get them back, especially because he's taking the 3rd CC, so it's really not that far for them to retreat, get repaired up, and then they can go on and hide again. The Alive's seriously trying to get some revenge. He's like, that was cool. Maybe I can do the same thing.
He just got 3 mules and that Cyclone and Reaper that didn't find the Cyclones they were looking for, by the way. Now they show up on the right side. Maybe you can get the kill on it. Gumio! One of them saves the other. But picking off 2 out of 3 mules, I believe that was. That's pretty sweet.
That's... it's actually, I feel like it's quite good, especially if it had lasted any longer, because Live is going for the 2 medevac drop to the right side. And now Gumio should be positioned. Yeah, he is.
That was adorable. I don't know if you guys were following that, but that one little Marine was chasing that Cyclone all the way down on the left side, running for its dear life. So we've got a double drop heading towards the natural of Gumio, but that's not a natural I truly want to drop in. 2 missile turrets, a tank, a bunker, and more units close. He goes all the way via the north side, alive! Okay.
It's actually... It wouldn't be so bad if the Marines were so close. Only dealing with plus turret is not too bad, but the Marines were stemmed almost instantly, and it's not going to be a very good drop.
How would Pick describe that drop?
Roaches. No, wait.
No, drop off. That's possible. Well, I think it would start off with an oh no, and then it's a blob off. I think something.
All right, that probably makes more sense. Yeah.
But there is a chance he would talk about roaches too. That's sorry, Cav, go ahead.
We actually have a double drop. Well, just chilling in the bottom left as we speak, but I think it's gonna go up into the main base. But there's a random turret from Gumio.
I love it! What a turret! That's so...
It's like he's facing Alive, so the most alive missile turret ever.
It's gonna work out as well. It's gonna get a couple of good shots off. That is, if it gets a kill on a medevac, oh my god.
I will definitely say that Terrans don't usually look at their medevacs. Like, pro Terrans look at their medevacs always when they enter the base, but not when it's in the middle of the map. So
that's a sick turret. I love that turret. Gumio is moving out though, and this is probably the moment that Alive is going to use that drop on the left side. So we have to catch that. Obviously, both players scanning a little bit. A little war of position right now. Obviously, sends it down. It's very useful. The turret. Oh no! What? Why? Why do you fly like that?
It's gonna see it at least. It's still spotted.
But at the same time, Gumio is winning the fight decisively on the right side. Obviously, the drop is gonna do some damage, but Gumio is kind of destroying Alive on the right side.
Yeah, the drop is doing a lot of Alive drop doing a lot of damage to the 3rd base of Gumio, but Gumio has enough reinforcements to stop that, and I don't think Alive will be able to secure his own 3rd base. There's still 4 tanks.
The Liberator got one of the tanks actually. The Cyclones in the main are going to do quite a bit of damage. There is a drop on top of the Marines right now, but Gumio is paying attention to it. Doesn't end up losing any of his own tanks. Gumio is still crushing in the right bottom side, even though he's losing a lot in the main. His push has done tremendously well.
It's SCV skills, you know, it looks pretty nice, but Gumio's only down by like 6-7 right now, and he might get a 3rd CC and a lot more SCVs himself. So I think this ultimately goes better for Gumio as he finally truly cleans up the drop and the cycle.
His CC is repairing it quite quickly. He's gonna drop a few more Marines on top of these tanks. This time it works. Gumio is good. He doesn't fall for those tricks. Only ends up losing 1. Now Alive is gonna use his Marines, but it's not going to be enough. GG. Gumio, like, that spiraled out of control so quick.
Yeah. I do think that he got a better, like, just game there. You know, the opener worked out a bit better than him. Alive seems to have misread the situation. Even with the CC on the high ground, it wasn't much, but it kind of set the tone for Alive. And then those drops that, the first 2 definitely didn't do what they wanted, and the other ones, well...
I think where Kev was going a little crazy was actually indeed really impactful, because it felt like Alive sort of had a little soft contain, right? And then suddenly he was pulled apart by that random Viking in the main, the 2 Cyclones that got a tank, that got 8 SCVs, and they both lived. It felt from that point on, Gumio was like hitting his stride, and he's like, yeah, things are working out.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think Gumiho. So his CVT record actually, I always like find this so interesting, so I always mention it. Sorry if people are bored by it, but his CVT isn't his best. It's like an astounding like 75% or something, but it's because he faces the best Terrans every single time. So actually, whenever Gumiho plays an online tournament in CVT, I'm like, okay, Gumiho's gonna win that. I don't care if it's Innovation, TY, Maru. Gumiho's just super good. So I think you got to throw out a not Terran against this guy right now.
Well, we don't have that power, Jess.
But I do!
Hey, segue was almost perfect.
All right, so I'm going to use that as the segue to introduce our next player, because lucky for Zombie Grub, because let's be honest, she had like a 1 in 3 chance on this, it is a not Terran coming up next. But this guy, ooh, I know so many people in the audience are like, yo, I'm so sick of these Terrans. I'm so sick of these Protoss. Give me a Zerg. Well, I got you. And I didn't just get you, I got you one of the best. He is just constantly making 50 banelings at a time. And is often confused with the color rouge. It's none other than Rogue.
I got it. I got it.
Carson was like, that's like a revelation. You're like, it's kind of like the color rouge. He was like,
Wait a second.
Boom, I got it.
Wait a second. Yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately, as I said before, guys, no interview with Rogue. He doesn't have a working mic, but his next opponent will, so don't worry, we'll get back with Crank and some of the Koreans. No spoilers on who's coming up next, but for now, we know that Rogue is playing now. He wants Backwater Zombie Grub, and with that, I shall mute my microphone.
This could be a long game, guys. This could be a long game.
yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I just imagine Gumiho as a Protoss, actually, because I think he's going to play mech, and I think it's going to be a longer game. But it's not always that he plays mech on maps that are favorable for it, so I don't want to be, like, 100%.
Backwater against Rogue. I've got a good feeling about this. I think this, like, if you ask me on paper, right, of all the games we've seen so far in the matchups, even if we wouldn't have actually seen the games, but only the player names and the matches, I would say that this is the game that I would like to watch the most. Gumiho versus Rogue on Backwater. I mean, I feel like this has a very high chance of turning into something pretty damn beautiful.
It also has a decent chance of Rogue just doing a 2.5 base Nidus all in.
Don't do that, Dan. Jinx, knocking it off for you.
Oh, he's totally right, though. I mean,
Yeah, I
Backwater
know
is
he's
like one of
right.
the most popular maps, man.
I don't want him to be right, but I know it's possible.
What's so silly, though, is that Rogue, like, I feel it's Rogue, it's Backwater, it's X or Y matchup, and it's like people will like play into the idea he could go for a Nidus room, and then he still makes the Nidus room work, and you're just like,
Niduses are good, man. I have like certain people that I play against on my level. I was like, I have the feeling he's gonna Nidus, and it's like, yeah, he Niduses, and I still die. I'm like, what? Like I'm prone to boosting out units over here and stuff. The fuck, man?
Exactly. But we actually got the lobby set up quite quickly, so guys, let's get into Backwater Rogue versus Gumiho. You know what? There's a map intro here, so I try to time out so perfectly to make up for like previous ones. There's just no map intro. Super cool, guys. All right, then. Let's talk more about Rogue and Gumiho.
It's okay, Jazz. It's okay. I would have loved the map intro because I was like, I'm gonna go to the restroom in before. This is a 47-minute mech game, and I pee my pants. If that's the case, it's on Rifkin. Rifkin, I'm invoicing you for Neil's sweatpants.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't know how you respond to that one. All right. Let's introduce the players here in the top left. As the teal Zerg, it is Rogue. Let's go back to you, Roddy.
Over here on the right bottom side of good old Backwater, a map that this man must love because of that free base play. It is Gumiho, our current king, who's crushing it. Played very, very well in his TVTs, and obviously, man, I think at all 3 games, I think that Gumiho played really good. It felt that the game against TY didn't start off perfectly, and even that first cloak Banshee getting sniped the way it did, it turned it around, and even against Alive, you're looking at it, it's like, not totally feeling it in the very beginning, but he just kicked it into overdrive, and he's playing good, man. Gumiho, I actually believe that Gumiho is still a top, I would say, 5 Terran at least. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say so. The thing is that he doesn't play like the other guys in the top 5 as well, so it's kind of hard to compare him with them. I feel like because he's just a a different guy. He just does different things. His unit movement is different. The way he approached the game is a lot different. So, like, he's not as good as, like, he doesn't look as powerful as Innovation, you know, where Inno just builds units for 7 minutes and walks to the other side of the map and kills whoever it is. Like, Gumiho uses more tricks, I feel like, and uses his brain a bit more.
And has really cool builds as well. Like, Gumiho is one of those Terrans that you shouldn't necessarily watch him to, like, copy him. If, you know, some people like to just copy builds they see. I think copying Gumiho is very hard because he, like you said, he has his own unique, distinctive playstyle. And it's really hard to copy something if you don't really understand it. Because there's like StarCraft 2 is a game that every game is different. There's so many minor moments that will change the entirety of the game. And Gumiho seems to understand those scenarios with his builds. But that's why it's so hard to copy, because if you're trying to copy him, but you don't have the understanding of the strength of the units, you just get lost very quickly. But that's why it's so fun to watch him.
Yeah. We see Rogue actually doing something a bit interesting. I guess it's possible because it's backwater, but he's not opening with any kind of gas. It's very important for Gumiho to scout him. That would actually be a great help for him. So far, he's just chilling in the natural base, trying to get some link kills. Almost got one, gets the first one just there right now.
Yeah, I mean, he'll know the typical speed timing and kind of check that, but he might even scout the third before he has to worry about, like, looking at the time. I think it's really quite cool. It's never something I really truly thought about, but I think about our top players in any race, and there are just
look at the Reaper. Look at the Reaper, Chess. Look at the Reaper and look at the Lynx.
He's just gonna hop down. Oh no, actually trapped! Wow! Actually, I don't think I've seen a trap on that. That was really nice.
I cast in 4D chess, Jess.
Yeah, of course. That's actually like a really important sign. It's not just that he didn't physically see the third. He didn't even see the creep spread. Like, it was that perfect of a timing. And it was before speed would naturally be finished. I think it finished like 320 or 330, something like that. So
he could still be scared of like a two-base Nidus or something two-basey.
Yeah, totally.
Third CC already. I wonder if it changed his plan or Gumiho just kind of goes, meh, don't care. I'll just make some Hellions, get a Banshee or a Raven. Is this the Zunster build? It might be the Zunster build. For anyone who's watching and doesn't know what the Zunster build is, Zunster infamously once went onto the NA ladder and played gasless all the way up to GM. And he actually, like, he had some pretty interesting, like, so all game long, he wouldn't win games with static defense or with gas. So he just massed Lynx, Queens, and yeah, that's it basically. Then he would run across the map.
There's much health you can make.
Kill the opponent with it. And he wasn't, the only thing he was allowed to build was Spores, because otherwise it would be very hard to stop stuff like Banshees with Cloak. But yeah, anything else he didn't. And he got pretty high up. I think he beat the Villo a couple of times. He beat some pretty decent players actually. So we see a Rogue taking a page out of this GSL contenders book.
This is actually kind of a... So I don't know if Gumiho really could, even if he realized something was up, I don't know if he really could change his build. He was already going for a fast third CC on his main, even before he would have scouted the speed timing.
But it would have still been nice to build that CC in your pocket, though, because it's going to take a while. And I feel that Rogue's economy is truly going to be just out of this world. He created like a 17 worker lead very quickly. It's only 10 at this point, but soon it will jump back to 15 or 16. And I do think, like, whoa, Gumi.
Yeah, so, like, first of all, I thought third CC was already being built before he would have seen the speed and timing. I think it was a Hellion third CC, but also a lot of Terrans, Gumiho included, have been taking the forward base, which I don't think, even if they don't go for fast speed, like, I don't know if you actually put that on location. That would have been quite ballsy, but it would have been nice to know, absolutely.
Do they go 4 orbitals then?
Yeah, for sure. That's I mean, it's what they do when they. This game we're not seeing mech, but they only have a square. If they play mech, that's what they do on that map. You know, it makes a lot of sense. But Gumiho is going for stim, so I think you can do this with mech as well. But what's really nice is whenever you can both pressure and defend. And Rogue, if he's not infamous for his, Baneling count, he can be certainly infamous for just how much he runs you around with Lings, although he's playing Roaches this game.
Rogue hasn't scouted that much either, by the way.
But he has seen the tech lab in the barracks, and there already was a tech lab on the starport. So I feel like if he paid attention, he should be able to know that it is actually his bio, and I guess he knows now.
Yeah, because he scouts the E-base. But I kind of like what Gumio was doing there with just like showing the Hellions and the Raven. Because that's also like, you're still not 100% sure, right? If you see that, that could still be either thing. It turns out that, of course, it is bio, and like by now, Rogue, after spotting both E-base, should know unless something very weird is going on, and Gumio is going for the biggest fake out ever. There's a lot of roaches on the way, both upgrades as well. He's morphing those Ravagers quite close to the units, but the roaches would keep them safe. Let's see if these Marines can get anything done other than pushing back a little bit of creep. I like this multi-bong denying creep, by the way, with the Raven and the Hellions, and at the same time with Marines on the north side. That's very well done.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We see a Spire coming down for Rogue as well, by the way, so he looks like he'll go 1-1 roaches and then just move into Muta with more roaches, I guess. We don't see a Baneling Nest yet. I'm very interested to see what this will do. Right now, we don't have any turrets up for Gumio, because who really expects Mutas after he sees 1-1 roaches?
And what if he goes Corruptus?
He could. Let's not forget that was a style that Rogue did back when it was popular. But it would be almost a throwback build. It basically would be a throwback composition. So it's gonna be Mutas. I did wonder if he was gonna just swap into Ling Baneling Muta. He talked about maybe Gumio playing a trick build that Rogue could know about. Well, Gumio doesn't know about the Mutas, so he could have been tricked for sure. And he's not really so much worried about doing the most high-pressured bio play ever. Obviously, he's getting a bunker. He's more determined about getting his 2-2 timing than he is about doing any like fancy quadruple drops. So it's not like he's getting a ton of scouting done. But this will scout the Mutas in maybe the worst way possible. Oh, no. They're gonna be able to download.
Spore Crawlers here as well. That's 2 Spore Crawlers and a Queen. This is not a good position to drop in. One medevac is going to fall very quickly, and the other one is going to die as well. Gumio will just sacrifice this and try to take down a couple of drones, but not the most successful drop.
Yeah, now the Mutas enter the natural. Gonna get a couple of SCV kills. Luckily, there were a bunch of Marines just standing next to the E-base, so we'll be able to scare it away. Even gets 1 or 2 Mutas, I believe. And we see Rogue immediately getting his transition going. Infestation Pit, Baneling Nest. So I guess we'll be seeing some Ling Bane Muta play into either fast Brute Lords or Ultras. With that Infestation Pit, of course, he wants to get the high.
Brute Lords are an interesting point to make because it is an option now. You have a Spire. We'll pay close attention to that.
Those medevacs are kind of trapped, by the way, Jess. These are going to die as well. And now we're looking basically at 4 medevacs, full of Marines going down for really not much. I mean, if you take a look at the unit's lost resource step, and then also take into consideration that Rogue has had a better economy than Gumio, this is pretty problematic for Gumio.
So his push still might do very well. I think the nice thing about those drops, it wasn't nice. They died. That was ultimately a failure. But one nice thing about it was
Jess.
The Baneling Nest was scouted and it was still wiggling and jiggling, right? So he knows that Baneling speed isn't ready to go. And with 2-2, with multiple tanks, the Roaches, they're still an issue, but it's like a lot scarier to be surrounded by Rogue's mass Banelings with speed than it is to deal with Roaches and a choke here. So I think he still is like kind of confident that he has an opportunity to really pressure, but he has to be super careful because of course Super Hopes is 80% done. It's on the way.
Yeah, I don't know, Jess. I don't think this is all looking all that good for Gumio right now.
Well, isn't it? I mean, the upgrades aren't that good. Baneling speed is not this though.
No, okay, well, why did he engage with slow bait into a sync one? What?
I don't know, Chris.
Off creep? Slow baiting? Like 5 seconds? Okay. I mean, I couldn't know that Rogue was gonna do that.
Maybe if you were as good a caster as I was, Kevin, you would have been able to see it coming.
I'm speechless. I cannot believe.
Who plays the real 4D chess? That was, I mean, I feel like that was going to be bad even if it wasn't that much of a choke. Like, that was, like, severely, like, probably the worst thing you've ever seen Rogue take.
What?
But it might not have been much better even if it was a bit more of a concave for the Banelings because they were still slow. It was a complete anti-timing.
Yeah, but the tanks were so far away, he doesn't even have to. Yeah, obviously, slow bait. Oh my goodness. What? What?
I don't know.
That's so crazy. Like 10 seconds or 15 seconds before bailing speed, and he's not even really getting pressured. Those tanks were in the middle of the map. Like, he doesn't have to roll into those siege tanks. He is like almost 5 base Zerg. He's getting bailing speed. It's almost, that's crazy to me. I have no idea what he just did there.
Yeah, he was up against 3-base all-inning Terran. There was no fort whatsoever. Mura still were on the other side of the map as well. And he had no upgrades. He was just
in the middle of the map, he ran into 4 tanks that were sieged up that were not posing any real threat to his bases right before bailing speed. I mean,
6 tanks actually. 6.
It was an insanely bad fight. It was it was just I actually can't explain that because even though I was saying I think it would have been okay for Gumiho even if bailing speed was done and there was a concave, that would have been the difference of him having time to build more bailings on the backside, like an efficient trade. And I absolutely agree. Like Gumiho was going to have to hope for a bit of a miracle, like a fantastic.
He was going to have to unsiege his tanks anyway, because what are you going to do? Like keep them there forever? I mean, which Zerg is ever going to attack into those tanks in the middle of the map? Especially not Rogue, am I right, guys?
I don't know.
He actually, I was checking the replay. He actually lost 5k resources in 5 seconds, and he killed like 200 minerals worth. So
questionable engagement.
Yeah, I don't think that's something he's gonna repeat in the future.
Yeah, we're already ready to go into the next series, guys. So let's find out who's coming up next.
Oh, that means we get Rifkin back on the horn. What's up, chat? Hope you guys are doing well. Can we get a hell yeah chat for the 8,000 people tuning into this? We're like officially in GSL territory, not just with the players, but also the viewers, and it feels fucking amazing. Now, not to dilly-dally.
Graham?
You know,
casters not GSL territory yet?
If I say 2 out of 3 of them, will that ignite something? All right, the next player coming up is going to be Protoss. We got him on a call, so we're going to keep this short and sweet so we get the interview rocking and rolling. He is, as I can say about most players coming out today, one of the best, but he is definitely, by all memes, the best. He came out to play in Canada Gameland last year, and if that doesn't quite give it away, it's none other than Zest. I'm really excited about this, but as we swap on over now, we'll be joining Crank on the call. I think we're having some hiccups with that, but I'll swap over nonetheless, and we'll get caught up with Crank here in just a sec. So, whoop. Hey Crank, how's it going, man?
Oh, I'm trying to invite the next player, but it seems like he has some problem to hearing us.
Hopefully. Hello?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Well, we definitely have Zest here, and it's just a question of whether we can get this audio stuff working. If we can't, not the end of the world, but I'm really grateful that not only is Crank here trying to help facilitate it, but the players are willing to try to come on for these quick chats.
I think he can, his mic works, but he cannot hear us, so his setting is messed up. But I guess you can just talk to me and I can chat him and I translate to you.
Oh,
Does it
boy.
work?
Yeah, this is going to be the best, most scuffed interview of all time. So, I guess first question to ask him, Crank, what map does he want? And he'll be playing against Gumiho, of course.
Okay, I will. I'm talking to him.
Yeah, so Crank is doing some typing, guys. Well, I guess we'll see if Zest... Well, if he just types back...
He asked... okay. Gumiho won. Gumiho.
안녕하세요.
He said hello, but he cannot hearing us.
He cannot hear us. 테란전이면 잠시 맵 좀 볼게요. 이거 레더 맵으로 하는 거 맞죠?
And he's asking it's leather maps, so I said yes.
Yeah, the good maps.
테란전 잠시만요.
Yeah, he still needs time to think.
That's fine.
Because he couldn't know until now who won.
할게요.
He wants to play Blackpink.
All right. Can you ask him why Blackpink versus Gumiho? I just love that the typing is the equivalent of Crank asking.
다른 맵들을 봤을 때 일단 뭐 백워터나 네온 같은 거 해도 되는데 제 스타일상 약간 블랙핑크가 더 잘 맞는 것 같아가지고 블랙핑크가 제일 나은 것 같아요.
He said it's okay to play on the backwater and Neon Virus Care, but he feels like Blackpink fits him more than other maps, so he picked Blackpink against Gumio.
Okay. I'm curious. Obviously, for a lot of the English speakers, this is kind of comment like Zest is best and it rhymes. Is there anything like that in Korea?
We don't really have. We just use Jest is best. When I cast, people just use the Jest is best in chat. Even though I'm speaking in Korean.
So it's that strong. It powers through the languages. All right.
Yeah.
Fair play. Is he worried about fighting Gumiho at all? I mean, this is a pretty tough Terran to have to come up against.
테란전에 대한 자신감은 있는데 이게 아무래도 단판제다 보니까 고병재 선수가 또 빌드가 많잖아요. 그래가지고 이제 단판제다 보니까 이게 빌드에 대해 좀 걱정이 되는 건 있어요.
Okay, so he's very confident to play against Terran, but since this is best one, and Gumio is really good at making strategy, so he's worrying about that.
Okay. Well, I guess it's a little bit hard to do when it's typing like this, so I won't make you do this for too long, Crank. Just ask him if he has any comments for his opponent before we go into game, I suppose.
제가 최근에 좀 감기가 심하게 들어가지고 GS 할 때도 좀 안 좋은 모습 보여드렸었는데 다시 이제 몸 괜찮아져가지고 이제 열심히 연습하고 있으니까 오늘 좀 재밌는 경기 보여드리겠습니다.
So he has been sick lately, so he couldn't even interview when he won GSL. So many people worried about him, but for today he wants to play some good games to show you guys. So cheer me up, something like that.
Well, thank you, I guess, to Zest, and you can type to him. I said thanks. Hopefully, we'll get into game here, guys, and see you as we send back to the casters. Thanks, Crank.
All right. Okay. So a bit of a short interview for you guys. I don't know what the highlights, I guess. He chose Blackpink after some serious decision. He said he's afraid of Gumio's strategies, maybe mech. Could be a problem. And after all, Gumio did just also take down Hero. So obviously Gumio's in pretty good form for TVP. I quickly looked up their League of Legends scores before hopping back on here. And I think that is actually really, really cool. The last 3 series have been very recent, and they all ended 2-3 in favor of Zest. So, like, super, super close between these guys.
So, Kev, I would love to hear your opinion. I'm a little bit surprised that Zest picked Blackpink. I don't think that Blackpink is the map that I would love to play a best of one against Gumiho. I find this is one of those maps where certain timings can be hard to deal with. And I feel that the real power that Protoss obviously has at the moment against Terran is the forges, right? It's chrono boosting out those upgrades. And I feel the only thing you kind of need for that is a little bit of time from time to time, right? Sometimes you need to buy those extra few seconds to get that good fight with 2-2 against 1-1, or even, worse than that for Terran. I feel on Blackpink, it's sometimes hard to get there. I would have personally chosen a bigger map just to truly rely on the strength that Protoss currently has against Terran. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing Eastwatch or Neon Violet, even Backwater, where it's kind of easy to defend your 3 bases.
I totally agree.
I'm a bit confused, but if there's one thing I've learned over the years, Kev, it is to never doubt Zest, because even if he does things a little different than the other tosses, most of the time it will win him the game. So I won't criticize him until he's lost, and then we kick him in when he's down.
It's obviously not criticism. It's more just that I'm genuinely surprised.
Yeah, me too.
Although that, Protoss is good against Terran at the moment, especially because of the power of the forges, the power of the upgrades. The more time you have as a Protoss, I think the absolute dream map for Protoss for a while was Ascension to Ire. And it was really funny because Gumio seemed to never veto Ascension to Ire. And I've watched so many games of Gumio where I kind of always does this same push, But then, like, the moment I was running across the map, 2-2 finishes up, Storm drops out of a prism. I've seen that like a million times. I'm always like, why do you play Ascension to Ire? Protoss will always get an upgrade lead there. But I think it's a little harder, honestly.
Well, we'll see what his game plan is on Blackpink as we get into it. Zest versus Gumio.
Click, clack, bada bing, bada boom. 문을 박 차면 모두 날 바라본 굳이 애써 노력 안 해도 모든 남자들의 코피가 팡팡팡 팡팡 바라바라 팡팡팡 지금 날 위해 축배를 짠짠짠 Hands up 내 손에 바라 follow 해니 네가 말로만 듣던 걔가 나야 Blackpink in your area Boom baya
Welcome back, everyone. Again, big thanks for PeopleImages for putting on this tournament. Remember to go to the match arena and use code PSL2. Now we're into, gosh, I think Gumio's on a 3-game win streak so far. So
4, I think already. No.
Hero, TY, yeah, 4, yeah, Rogue, which is happening. So, wow, this guy's an absolute terror. But this guy in the bottom left, sorry if it goes on your camera. Okay, good. He's the new contender, and it's going to be a difficult one. He is Zest. Carson, take it away.
In the top right, spawning as the blue Baron, it is Gumiho, who already took 3 maps, I want to say?
4.
4, yeah, that's what we're
just went over it.
Discussing. Okay,
By the way, I don't know if you guys did it as well, but the first thing I did after that last game is you take a look at the graphs, right? Like the graphs always tell you. And it's really funny because all game long, he's behind economically, and all game long, he's behind in army value. And then there is that one fight, and it went down so fast. Like his army graph pretty much stayed uncontested, and the one of Rogue, which was quite a bit above him, just went down, well, as fast as anything can go down. This is crazy. I think that even Gumio was shocked about how that game played out.
Yeah. I kind of wish that we could interview. If Rogue ended up somehow like pulling that back and winning the game, I wish we could have asked him, like, okay, what was that? Or if Gumio had a mic, we'd ask, like, what did you think about that? Because that was just such a bizarre choice, not usually seen by the likes of Rogue. But now we're on to the next game. Gumio is very thankful that Rogue is basically securing him the qualification spot for most wins this league, at least. Although he still, I guess, could. If Rick can tell me, like, which one supersedes the other, like, well, I guess he would be last. If he's last, he literally wins until the last one. Then he gets that qualification spot, and then like someone else has to win like 2, basically.
I think it's guaranteed for Gumio right now because Cess would have to get more wins than Gumio, but then he would take out the last guy as well, and then obviously the last king. So I think Gumi is guaranteed at this point.
I want to say
nice.
Yuri.
It could still be a draw with the Zest.
With
and
Zest,
and then the last guy wins, then they would. Yeah, I don't know.
And then Zest did beat Gumio. I don't know if that would matter, but anyways, so we have a Twilight Council opening here on Blackpink. Not super surprising, even though you see a lot of Stargates in as well. Twilight is good, obviously because Twilight eventually can lead into that double forge play that we already went over. But once again, Blackpink is not the greatest map out there to buy a lot of time for those upgrades. And we'll see how Zest plays this out.
Yeah, we see Zest actually scouting with that first adept, making sure that there is no reactor factory, because that's really the only time that you kind of want to change your build order. Because it might be double Cyclone, it might be double Hellion. If it's double Hellion, you might want to scout for a proxy starport or something like that. And if it's Cyclone, you want to get that battery up and early. So yeah, good for Zest that he sees that, keeps the Adept alive, sees the Cyclone coming out. So this is a great start for Zest, really. He knows everything.
That's a really good scout. I wanted to ask you, Cap, because if you're a Protoss right now, right, and you scout and you see the barracks and you see the reactor, but you don't see the factory immediately, do you worry about 2 or even 3 Rexes, or do you say like, nah, because that's still something you would like to see for sure, right? Because I think it changes the timing of your third Nexus quite a bit. Because if this was a 2 Rex or a 3 Rex, I don't think you can drop a Nexus at the 3-minute mark.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think you care too much. I think it's alright, honestly. The way that
you have no fear.
No fear, because you can keep the Adept in front of the base in that case. So you know when the opponent's moving out, your blink will finish, and you can just move your stalkers to the other side. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's not. It does feel a bit scary because you're not 100% sure what's going on, but I think there is a pretty good plan of action for Zest in that case as well.
Right. So, I guess like kind of 2 points here. First of all, I've always been such a big fan of the way Zest plays this. Like he was on the forefront when literally it was 4.0. Like everyone was afraid of stalkers. Zest kind of had his big resurgence right then and there, and not just because stalkers were good. He just like really it played well to his style, and I think I love that he's kept the style too. Like he very rarely it feels go for Stargate Openers against Terran, yet he seems to have no problem against any variety of build orders that Terran does with his Blink Opener. And I think that even if this was a 3 racks, like Zest just has ways of controlling the map so well once Blink is done that he seems to get these third bases down and actually keep them alive, which is like the most important thing, right? So Gumiho, I'm pretty sure he would know how Zest typically plays and is prepared to deal with that. Not so much worried about those Stargate Openers or anything proxy-wise either, because I think Zest is a little less on the cheesy side. He can do it, but not often.
This is bad, though. If he doesn't know that those medevacs are moving out, his stalkers are way out of position. If those 2 medevacs show up in his main base, this is not where you want to be surprised. You don't want to be surprised in this phase in the game. The stalkers won't get much done. Okay, Zest is running back, and that's the right decision for sure.
Yeah, he saw nothing with his observer. He was like, wait a second. We're 5 minutes and 50 seconds in the game. You have a Cyclone and 4 Marines. Like, that can be everything.
Okay, now he sees it with the Observer. Stalk still a little bit out of position, but he's going to warp in a couple of defensive Stalkers. Scan gets thrown down, but Gumio is still going to go for it, as the Stalkers are still a little bit out of position. There should be a Guardian Shield here, but with a couple of Zealots. No, he's not going to charge yet. I still think if you're just trading here as Gumio, which is what he's doing, okay, he doesn't get too much done. But yeah, I mean, losing the medevac as well.
Oh.
Huh. Oh, the Immortal. Oh, the Immortal. Oh, that was rallied forward with his observers. Quite a hefty loss. I think he still cleans this up with charge being done and 1-1 almost being done too. Well, actually, maybe not. These murders are so sturdy. No, he is. Okay, for sure.
There's no combat shield on the Marine.
Yeah.
So I think all of these fights honestly weren't too bad for Zest. His 1-1 finishes. Gumiho just now is getting his 4th and his 5th barracks. Zest has a nice little bank as well, so even if he's gonna lose 1 or 2 Zealots here, he's gonna be in quite a decent supply lead, I wanna say. I wouldn't be surprised to see 4th and 5th gas being added soon on his 3rd base, maybe spread a couple of pylons, get that map control with the towers, and I feel like this is exactly the situation Zest wants to be. Probably gonna get a Prism as well soon.
You could say is that he did lose an Immortal, 3 Stalkers, and a Sentry. Like, the ideal unit you want to lose if you play this style are Zealots, right? Because they are easily replaceable. So losing a Sentry, an Immortal, and 3 Stalkers, obviously he killed quite a bit as well. But those are not the units that you really want to lose, because he was forced to warp in a couple of additional Stalkers. But he still only has 5 Stalkers at this point. So it's obviously good for Zest. But it's not the worst thing ever for Gumio. Like, it wouldn't be the craziest comeback of all time or something.
Right. Yeah, I think that kind of sums up the situation. I think for Terrans in this specific spot, like it's almost to us, I guess, the Terrans, it's almost like unfair that Zest could play this style and get that perfect of a last second scout, and for his drops not to really do what they wanted. Because I think Gumio really was anticipating, probably checked around for the observer, so there wasn't any scouting, and knew that Zest loves to use his stalkers out on the map. He really thought he could probably get more done there. So not to get anything, just to grab the Immortal. I think Gumio, like, he's very much so aware that the 2-2 is going to be this huge problem. So getting EMPs is kind of a way to negate that almost.
Yeah, I feel like this will come down to like that first fight before Zest truly has the amount of robo units that he wants. Whether he goes Colossus or Disruptor, I expect Colossus here because he has double Forge, but obviously Disruptors would be very good as well. But maybe Gumio can force out a massive fight with EMPs either right before Colossus are out or at worst against 1 or 2 Colossus, and then I still kind of believe that he has a chance.
Yeah, against what he's facing right now, like Ghost and Widowmine still being produced, I wouldn't mind getting Disruptors first, at least 1 or 2 Disruptors. Yeah. So it's very hard for Gumiho to kind of get a position with the Widowmines, and I think Disruptors are very good against Ghost as well. Against something like Liberators, maybe you would rather see something else, but this push actually looks decently scary coming out of Gumio right now.
Especially with the mines, right? And if all the units of Gumio shows up, I mean, that's a lot of gateway units though, guys. 8 extra Stalkers being warped in, mines going down, EMPs. Let's see how good they are.
Oh, okay, those Widow Mines are not going to get great shots, and the EMPs are a little bit late. Oh, no, they actually did blanket the Zealots, and then they blanket the Stalkers, so...
It's a good fight from Gumio, actually.
That wasn't really so bad. And he keeps the Ghost alive, so he still has that third EMP for any more reinforcing units, but it's a very, very small army, and if you ever get completely, legitimately surrounded by the encroaching Zealot army, you know, if they have shields or not, that's still scary.
Okay, it's a lot of extra Zealots now, and the first Disruptors are on the way as well. These Disruptors, they could have been out already if Zest would have made them immediately. He didn't. Gumio really needs to crush this fight, and I actually think he's doing a pretty damn good job. Landed some good EMPs, still has a couple of additional mines. Well, good micro there by Zest. Picking up the Marauder. First Disruptor is out, but the scan reveals it immediately.
Yeah, and +2 just now finished for Gumio, so he was fighting 2 upgrades down all the time, basically. Immediately starts +3 as well. This fight is actually starting to look a bit worse for Gumio now. Big Zealot count. Great micro, though. Wow, that's sick.
Yeah, losing the mines. I don't think he should have unburrowed that other mine, because Zest went for it, and he got it kind of for freely. Disrupt this shot! Oh, it's getting awfully close to the bio.
Okay, that was really, really close. It's going to tag one Marine. Excellent micro from Gumio. Maybe save some 2 other units. Another excellent Marine micro right there. It's certainly a way to take care of the Disruptors, but it's not just the Disruptors. Obviously, they can just end the battle right here and now, but the Gateway Army is still very powerful, and it's encroaching on 3-3. That is so close to being done. Disruptor looks for the shot, grabs a Widow Mine at least, but loses the Disruptor.
I mean, really good job by Gumio not losing too much against those Disruptors, but Zest's economy, he's still having a couple of workers, and his reinforcements, I mean, with the amount of gateways that he has, and don't forget there are 2 Colossus in the mix now as well. And Colossus are very, very troublesome to deal with if you're just making Ghost and Widow Mines. Now, we do have Advanced Ballistics, I think, soon on the way, and he's going to have multiple Liberators. So Gumio not totally down and out yet, definitely fight. But now Zest's army is becoming a lot more powerful because of those Colossus.
Yeah, and we don't really have a Liberator count to speak of yet either. We have a lot of Medivacs, 9. But yeah, no real Liberator count. First 3 in production. Actually, there's 2 already. See a couple of mines still defending at home as well. I kind of like this move by Gumio, trying to win some time for his Advanced Ballistics, sending a Widow Mine drop on the top side of the map as well, trying to maybe get some probes there. And he scouts the lack of a 5th base with his Marine. So, yeah, actually, still possible for both, I feel like.
Yep. I mean, it comes down to the engagement. I do think that Zest survived a scary phase, because he would have had a very bad fight against the Widow Mines. But like Just said as well, I think that first kind of fight that they had, the mines didn't do that much, and that was really nice for Zest. If you can only lose a couple of Zealots, take out those mines, then the next wave all becomes a little bit easier to deal with. Now, of course, with a bunch of Advanced Ballistics, we know how those fights go. I do think Gumio is obviously fighting an uphill battle at this point, but if he gets a whole bunch of Liberators out and Zest takes one bad fight, it's still possible. +3, almost done as well. But Gumio is a little bit out of position at this point.
I do want to highlight something real quick. Actually, I might not have time to, as the push is just straight up coming in here. There's 4 Liberators, which is a very decent amount when you consider the SimCity that's also here. But Gumio is going to lose perhaps a Fusion Core. I guess Liberator's already done, so that's not the biggest deal, actually.
That Ghost, EMP, that's a decent. We'd love to connect with the sentries. We've got a little bit of Liberator harass going on as well, but Zest took care of it very quickly.
We're going to get some storm drops eventually. War Prism Speed's on the way, and he did add a Temple Archives, but obviously he's very focused on this push, so he hasn't started Storm yet. Actually grabbing a couple Liberators here. I want to quickly note that Zest has failed in very significant ways at this point in the game. I know you guys are talking about a very scary point in the mid-game, and it seems like Zest always is like a master of dealing with that, okay? He's just great micro with pure gateway units. But for some reason, when he gets to Colossus and he gets to a maxed out supply, he makes actually surprisingly poor decisions against Liberators. So I'm a little scared. I'm hoping that he's fixed that since last time I saw him. And when he's GSL group, I think, you know, he is in good form. But this is where I am worried he's going to give away the game.
I think it's possible to win with the units that Zest has, but he needs really good fights. You need to play out of your mind in general to take out this many Liberators, and also the goals. Don't forget about that. EMP still really hurts. Still has Disruptors in the mix, but I kind of would like to see maybe a Stargate soon. Zest seems very stubborn. He wants to win here. Once again, it is absolutely possible if you pick him. Oh, that's a good Disruptor. If you pick him apart, which is kind of what Zest is trying to do. But this is also risky, because if you run out of steam, you're suddenly facing a Terran army that's more powerful than your army.
Yeah, that's very interesting blink there. Does get a lot of the Liberators. And yeah, very good concave here by Gumio with a couple of force fields. I gets, shielding Zest's army off completely.
Those force fields were sick, actually. They really saved a lot of his units. One of his Colossus is super low on HP, it still is, but new Liberators show up, and these Liberators push out quite a bit of damage. The Stalkers will take care of it eventually. Gumio is losing all the SCPs in the third base as well, though, and Zest gets it done with just the Stalkers and Colossus. Those force fields were so freaking key, and that goes back to that one EMP that maybe could have connected with those sentries. If those force fields don't land, I actually believe that Gumio can collapse on that army and win that battle pretty decisively.
Yeah, this was a very tense game up until the end. I feel like the moment you're in Gumio's position, like he was, you really need to do something to kind of break out. And he had that Liberator harass going on, but it was mispositioned. So even with the advanced ballistic, Stalkers could still reach it. I think that actually was kind of a big error, because if you're putting pressure on that eco of Zest, then all of a sudden this attack becomes a lot more all-in, and it becomes a lot harder to reinforce if you're only mining off 1.5, 2 bases, because the main is mined out.
At the fourth base, right? At the fourth base, he should easily be able to deny the mining. Yeah, didn't even really think, because I saw the Liberator, but then I was focused on the fight. He should indeed be able to connect with the mineral patches, and then it becomes really awkward for Zest. But man, those force fields, they were so clutch. If you do that battle again, and if you land on the sentries, I actually believe that Gumio holds there.
Oh, absolutely agree. Great point about the EMP. We are getting ready to find out who our next player is, and I see that he even has a cam, so let's get into the interview.
All right, folks, we're back, but we're going straight to me here, as we got to pick the next player on deck, and I don't want to dilly-dally too long. Now, it says Zest. It's supposed to say next player. I don't know why it didn't reset. We'll just roll with it for now, because we do have Harsum and Roddy still here. It would be wrong not to give them a little more Protoss. Now, again, these guys can probably guess just by simple process of elimination who's up next. But the guy, I'm surprised he's come out to play, because this is not a $100,000 tournament. Any guesses, boys?
Come on. You don't even have to guess here.
Yeah, I know. Formalities, right? Formalities. But that being said, guys, we're going to be heading over to the interview. We once again have Crank doing some translation stuff for us. So if I haven't messed it up, this good-looking boy has himself a webcam. Hello, SOS. Oh, wait, I'm not getting any sound. Is that me? Crank, hello? No, I'm not getting sound for some reason. One sec, guys. I may have to just restart this. Sorry, I will be right back. I spent so long setting this up during the break, and then it just totally borks on me, folks. Sorry, just give me 1 sec. I gotta restart this entirely, which is no fun on my end. But while I do restart it, I just want to give a big thank you to everybody for tuning in today. We got a wonderful show and a wonderful turnout. Awesome group of players. And if anybody wants replay packs from this tournament, you'll get them for being subbed to the channel. We'll talk about this more towards the end, but let's see if we can get these guys back on the call.
Or, am I live, by the way?
You are. We can hear you.
Okay, cool. Or, since I am in all of these games as well, you can also... No, I'm kidding.
Oh, got that scumbag Roddy attempt here. All right, can I hear these guys now? SOS? Crank, you want to say something? Why am I suddenly... I got cursed with Zest. Zest couldn't hear stuff before, and now neither can I. Here, you know what? I'm just going to toss the casters for just 1 second here. You guys know who's coming up next. Maybe make you want to make a prediction on who wins while I try and fix this?
Well, it's a best of one. So I feel like I'll have to give this to SOS. I'm not even sure why, but I feel like SOS would be the king of a best of one as well. It's just, it's more clutch, it feels like. So it's probably more his forte. Could be wrong there.
I'm siding with you. Even though we don't know the map, we don't know anything, I'm siding with you. I think SOS takes it as well.
Luckily, you guys bought me exactly enough time with those sick predictions to get this fixed. So I'm hoping as we try to go back to the interview screen, sorry about that, guys. Can you hear me, or Crank or Zest, or can somebody speak?
Mic test.
Yes, fixed.
Okay,
I'm so sorry about that. Hello, SOS. I
SOS.
guess.
유진아?
네?
들려? 리프팅 많이 들리니?
네.
I was gonna ask real quick. Is Zest still unable to hear us?
Just cannot hear us at all.
Okay, so I'll just
his mic works.
Okay, I'll just mostly talk to SOS then. So first off, Crank, tell SOS thank you for coming out to the tournament, even though it doesn't have a $100,000 prize pool.
뭐 1억 원의 상금이 아니더라도 내 토너먼트에 참가해줘서 고맙다고 말을 하는데.
뭔가 제 방식이 재밌을 것 같아서 참여해봤는데 프로포전이라서 좀 아쉽네요.
He attended this tournament because your format, the tournament's format is interesting, but he feels sad right now because he has to face Protoss.
Ah, well, it's only best of one. To win at this point too, is very difficult. There's not many matches remaining though. I'm not sure if he's aware, but actually, let me just double check this before I say it. Yeah, we have 3 more games after this. Does he think he can win 3 best of ones?
이제 성욱이 이기면은 뒤에 이제 3명 더 남았는데 뭐
네.
자신이 있는지 다 이길 수 있는 자신감이 있는지.
그런 자신감보다는 일단 푸푸전은 편하게 해야지 성적이 잘 나오기 때문에 일단 푸푸전 이기고 생각해봐야 될 것 같아요.
He doesn't think about the future matchups at all. He has to feel comfortable to face against Protoss so he can play better. So after he win against Jazz, he will think of next 3 players.
Okay, that's fair. I noticed he's in a house. He's living with Trap, I believe. Is the environment still good for him for practice?
이제 그 숙소에 이제 성호도 있고 이제 프로토스 대 프로토스전 뭐 평소에 연습하기 좋은 환경인지.
연습하기 좋은 환경이긴 하지만 보통 대회가 있지 않는 이상은 공격전은 거의 연습을 잘 하진 않아요.
Yeah, it is a good environment for him, but unless there will be some like a Protoss matchup in like big tournament, he doesn't really practice PvP at all. So, yeah.
Okay, well, also if you could ask him which map he wants as the challenger, we gotta get the lobby up.
이번 대회는 이제 도전자가 맵을 정하는 방식이라서 맵을 이제 네가 골라주면 되겠는데. 레더 맵 7개 중에 아무거나.
And give him a second to think here, guys.
저 카탈리스트 할게요.
He wants to play Catalyst.
Okay, Catalyst. If you could ask him one last question here before you go, and you could type this to Zest, I'd love to hear both their answers.
Yeah.
How do they feel about the foreigners that are coming? Now you've got them actually competing in GSL. Are they starting to get worried about foreigners at all, or is it still just, they're foreigners, who cares?
Do you wanna ask for both players?
Pardon me?
Do you wanna ask for both players, SOS and Jest? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry guys, Crank has to type to Zest because Zest can't hear us for whatever reason, but his microphone works. So that's the little bit of awkwardness there.
외국인들이 GSL 참가하는 거에 대해서는 개인적으로 좀 살짝 민감한 질문이긴 한데 좀 약간 한국인들이 약간 좀 불공평하다고 생각되긴 해요. 제 스스로는.
He wants to say it is kind of sensitive to talk about having foreigners in GSL, which is the Korean major tournament, premier tournament. He feels like it's kind of unfair. He doesn't say more other things, but he feels like it's just unfair.
Maybe I should rephrase this. Sorry, it's not more that they're in GSL, but does he feel like, is the skill rising? Are the foreigners better? Are they even on the radar for them, or is this something where they don't care still?
But whatever we talk about having foreigners in GSL to Korean players, it's kind of sensitive thing.
Right, but I'm saying don't ask about GSL. I just mean in general, the skill level is getting better.
Yeah,
is it
skill
good
level.
enough?
Okay.
지금 한국 선수들은 지금 새로운 선수가 없고 외국 선수들은 계속 이제 어린 선수들이 나오고 있기 때문에 그 점에 대해서 상당히 외국 선수들도 기량이 많이 올라왔기 때문에 지금 뭐 잘하는 외국 선수들은 예, 기량이 거의 비슷한 수준까지 올라온 것 같아요.
It feels like we have no new players in Korean scene, and in foreign scene there is always new players, and other players are getting better and better. So it's kind of like he don't feel like they are easy opponent anymore. Something like that. And 유진아, 너는 어떻게 생각해?
외국인들 스킬에 대해서요, 아니면
그냥 스킬? 그거는 뭐 말해봤자 더 길어지니까.
그래서 외국인들이 많이 올라와서 제 실력적으로는 좀 비슷하다고 생각하긴 하는데, 그래도 아직까지는 그 외국인들이랑 게임하면 그 편안함이 남아 있어서 실력을 떠나서 그냥 만나면 그래도 조금이라도 덜 긴장되는 게 있는 것 같아요. 아직은.
So SOS also agree that the foreigners are getting better and better, and the skill level is kind of equal to Korean players. But still, SOS feels like more comfortable to play against foreigners than Korean.
That's fair.
So,
well, we'll wrap this up. If you could get SOS to join channel BaseTradeTV so we can invite him, but also B, ask him if he has any words for Zest before we get into the game.
유진아, 이 성욱이랑 하게 되는데 뭐 한마디?
You die.
He said he died.
He's gonna die? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much once again, Crank and SOS. We're going to hop in a game, so I'm sending it back to you guys here on the casting desk.
Okay, there we go. Got it. Thank you, Rifkin. I was debating what was behind SOS. I don't know if you guys could see his camera on the delay, but I think it was an AC. We're getting into Catalyst. As you guys are in the lobby, we just need the players now. And I know SOS, kind of those interesting things from the conversation is that SOS, in terms of this specific PvP, was a little sad that, he liked the tournament structure of best of ones, but he was a little sad that it was a PvP. I think he realizes that while sometimes a best of one works in his favor, even in this matchup, it obviously can do the exact same thing for the other Protoss, right? So I don't know.
Catalyst is kind of a dangerous map as well, I think, for best of one, because there is no ramp going into the natural, and that allows a lot of those early stalker builds. Like, you can't be too greedy, too crazy on this map, because your opponent shows up with 6 stalkers. There's no ramp. You're gonna get out microed. There's nothing you can do, no matter how good you are. So it's funny that he complains about the best of one PvP, and then he picks one of the maps where it's like a little dicey.
Yeah, that just adds to it. Looks like both players are now in the lobby, so we're good to go. We're heading into Catalyst for Ryung versus, or damn it, SOS for SOS versus us. All right, now you guys can see why I screwed that up, man. This guy in the bottom right is not Ryung. He's the red Protoss SOS.
And in the top left, it is the current king, the man himself. It is Zest.
The back-to-back home story cup champion.
Yeah.
Is he gonna make it a three-peat?
Could be possible.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. If he is invited, of course. You never know.
Well, if you win 2 in a row and you don't get invited for the next one, I don't know what that would say. That means that you're either too good or something terrible happened. Yeah. Now, I've heard through the grapevines, I'm not gonna spoil anything just yet, but I've heard through the grapevines that Home Story Cup will be a little different this time. I don't know if you are aware of it, Kev, but I am so freaking pumped and excited to finally see this. Because hell, it's about time. That's all I can say.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad that they're announcing Warcraft 4 at
Hey.
Yeah. Whoopsies. No, yeah. I'm very hyped for the home story as well. But right now we have something which might be considered even better, which is a best of one PvP with SOS in it. So very curious where this will go.
I mean, we already went over it a little bit. Catalyst is an interesting map pick because there is no ramp going into the natural, and that means that certain Stalker openings, or even just one base worlds, like a stupid straight up 4-gate, you guys may think like, well, if I make it out of Diamond League, the 4-gating will stop, right? Well, actually, on a map like this, it's not bad on almost any level. It's a really good map to go for just a proxy something. So both players are going to have to be very careful here and be very cautious about what's happening on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and we see both players opening with double Stalker as well. Very aware that the map control on this map, even more so than on other maps, is very, very important. Being able to find those proxy pylons, those hidden Stargates, those basically anything that can be hidden will be hidden on Catalyst. Right. So it's good to have map control to be able to find that, get some Stalkers out early.
Twilight Council already been down for SOS. The fact that his Cleanse Eggs Room is always going to throw me off. But I'll say this overall about PvP for these guys. SOS obviously known for being cheesy in this matchup. It's no different. Zest, not usually known for being cheesy, can throw up basically everything in this matchup. I think you have to be able to play aggressive sometimes. And he also has always been very consistently good at this matchup.
Sorry, Jess, but this is beautiful. This is really beautiful Stalker movement by Zest. He just trapped in. I think he's gonna force out maybe a recall if there is energy. Is there energy? I don't think there is energy.
Nah.
That was sick. If you would have looked at that from all the way zoomed out, really beautiful Stalker movement by Zest, who's also opening up with 3-gate, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this goes into the whole he can do anything. He might not be proxying a pylon. Well, no, I spoke too soon. He might be proxying a gateway, I guess is where I was going to go with that. But he is proxying a pylon. So even slow warp-ins, like one extra Stalker really can be the difference maker. And he already got 2. Such a fantastic trade. Still is going to have a good trade here. He even blocks with the throat. Oh, that was pretty cool.
He loses a Stalker, that's sad, but he's still going to win that fight as well. I mean, there's another Stalker now, but he gets a lot of damage, and even that is important. Oh no, SOS just dropped an Expand, and I don't think you want to drop an Expand right now. You can obviously still cancel it, but I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah, Zest also saw that it is Blink. He probably knows how much time he has left. If I was Zest, I'd go in, cancel that Nexus, then probably just go back home to my own Expand, and be in a good position. Like, you're not going to be super far ahead, but you're going to be ahead. You should not walk up.
No, because there's always a sentry.
Yeah,
we know there is now as well. So he's going to get the pylon, and he indeed should be able to get a pretty easy cancel on that Nexus. Yeah, I mean, this is everything we spoke about, right? This is PvP on Catalyst. It's tricky, it's a little bit different, and Zest can transition. He's doing all the right things, man. I am this has been a 4-minute and 30-second game, but I love the way that Zest has played it. But of course, now there is Blink on the side of SOS, and now SOS is going to try to strike back. But so far, this has been a very entertaining game.
Yeah, and we do have a proxy pylon on the other side of the map as well, so SOS could warp in there. Right now, still warping in 2 Stalkers at home, maybe afraid of some kind of Adept run by, making sure that he has something in his main base. But SOS right now arriving on the other side of the map with his 5 Stalkers, just casually walks into the main base, sees the Immortal, goes, wonder if I can do anything.
Oh no, he's blinking back defensively. The Stalkers are coming in as well. This is kind of awkward.
Oh, wow. Positioning from Zest this game is amazing. I mean, the Immortal timing was amazing. Even as a shield battery, but that's 4 Stalkers, so a perfect amount of one-shot. Now it's 3, it's a little bit more awkward.
I'm surprised he doesn't recall. Now he loses everything.
Yeah, he does.
And he had recall ready as well. I checked to be sure. He had 52 energy, so he could have definitely recalled. This actually was a very, very poor trade for SOS. If you take a look at the units lost step, we see 1,500 or 1,475 resources lost for SOS and only 525 lost for Zest. And that was just mainly probes. SOS killed 7 workers, so he's slightly up in workers, but this push that Zest is doing, this improvised push with 3 Adepts and an Immortal, I mean, yeah, sentries are alright, but what if the other guy just like 6 or 7 extra Stalkers? I don't think.
And the Stalkers are out of position as well. The Stalkers are very far away. What is Zest going to do? Do you jump on top of these units with a shield battery as well? He's just draining the battery a little bit. Adepts, if the Adepts get on top of the sentries, they will die very quickly. This game is going nuts. If I was SOS, I may actually go up my ramp, because he's gonna kill quite a bit in the main base of Zest, I would go up my rep.
Actually, there's a battery in the main base of Zest, which is healing the Stalker that was being attacked. So 2 Stalkers are actually beating out 4 Stalkers right now. On the other side of the map, Zest is trying to take down the Nexus of SOS, and he's doing a very good job. Instant recall as well. Loses 2 Stalkers, but that was so worth it for Zest.
Well, it's probably better to just run home. I think.
I actually think he should have just he could have fought there, no? Like he had 10 Stalkers, 2 Adepts and 1 Immortal. Like he just would have won the fight. But this is absolutely fine as well. I mean, it might not have been the perfect call, but anything up until that moment, I think Zest actually played a perfect game.
Yeah, really, really, really good. The movement, like Jess said, the movement and positioning of all the units, the scouting, the little dance. It was that's Protoss art right there. Zest is playing an excellent game.
We see SOS expanding behind the push that he's doing, as well as getting a Dark Shrine and a Prism. So we can smell where this is going, can't we? But I'm not sure if Zest knows who he's up against. So he should be in decent shape. He already has 1 Observer up in front. He's getting Blink himself, 4 Stalkers in the main, expecting a Prism, and or even a Stalker Blink in, I guess.
Either one, right? It's SOS, but it's also just a classic one behind. It might still be able to do damage. I mean, the Blink's not going to be done for a while, and maybe the DTs do, split up and find some probes. But obviously, SOS having to recover from an entire Nexus loss, pretty bad news. And mortal drops are cool too, but he's definitely got to be careful.
Doesn't get anything. He eventually gets the pylon there, but good movement there with the Stalker of Zest. Blink is obviously not too close to finishing up. Good snipe on the Observer as well. Maybe you can finally get a Stalker or 2 here for your efforts, and that's exactly what SOS will get. And that's nice, but it's safe to say that he needs quite a bit more than just picking off 1 or 2 Stalkers.
Yeah, there's actually still only 1 Observer, but sending in 2 DTs kind of feels like a waste if you can just move the Observer. You might get 3-4 probes, but even that's not really what SOS needs. SOS needs 9 or 10 probes, and he probably needs to get out with at least 1 DT as well, and then he'll be in a lot better position. But as long as Zest doesn't really have anything on the 3rd or isn't trying to defend a 3rd base or even a building Nexus, I don't think SOS should go in yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna try. Okay, there's a 2nd Observer on the way. Zest is just too good. And maybe that 1st Observer will spot the 1st DT almost immediately. Yes, it does. And that obviously gives the heads up for a potential Dark Templar in the natural as well. Man, Zest, can you do anything else right in this game? Like, it's actually getting scary. I really feel that Zest is playing close to perfect.
He does such great PvP. I was surprised to see that he lost his PvP in the Super Tournament, I think that was, because his PvP has always been his best. Like, even when he wasn't doing so well last year, he still had solid PvP. So I'm not too surprised. SOS is kind of getting outmaneuvered. Like, really, actually, that's the perfect way to put it, because the positioning has been so fantastic. But now Zest has to defend against a fairly strong push. I mean, charge lots, against just the Stalkers and the Immortals, but the army's play is in favor of Zest.
A little bit scary indeed. It comes down to positioning. You don't want to take a 4-fight with your Stalkers, but I like where Zest puts his army. That's actually well done. It's only a single Immortal, but misreadies one of his Immortals a little bit. I mean, this is a lot of Zealots, so it's obviously a little bit scary. He could drop a Force Field on the right side, and that's exactly what he does. Well done there by Zest.
This is going to decide everything, it looks like. And the Blink forward even takes out the Warp Prism. Of course, the Stalkers are under fire by themselves, and the Immortal, so it was a little close, but the Adept still powering through, still has his own Immortal, still has Sentries with Force Fields and Guardian Shield. Okay, maybe.
But he can shade forward. You can easily shade forward on this army and trap it.
Aha, finally using the recall, but still going to lose the 2 Immortals.
I mean, Zest is playing really good. That was a scary push because it arrived, I think, a little bit faster than he expected. The 1 Archon makes things complicated for the Sentry, and it was a lot of Zealots against a lot of Stalkers. And we all know that if Zealots get the surface area, they can do really good there. But Zest identified what was going on pretty quickly. He put his army in a good position, and now he has the Resonating Glaives against a man that doesn't have Blink. Well, actually, he doesn't blink, but he doesn't really have any stocks anymore. So it's going to be a lot of Zealots, and Zealots, they kind of melt against the Adepts.
Oh, there's one DT, a sneaky DT heading into the natural. There is an Observer in the main base, but it's in stationary mode. Another Observing just popped. This DT will get 4 to 5 kills and force a probe pool. So SOS pulling slightly ahead in the worker count, but this push... Wow, those are very good force fields.
Alright, those are indeed really good force fields. That really couldn't have gone any better. I still like the army of Zest, but if SOS can get the Archon out, you know, he doesn't have an Archon on the play.
This fight actually is going pretty decent for SOS for how bad it looked a minute ago, but I don't think it's going to be.
The Adepts are very good against Zealots, man, especially in small numbers like that. If there are no Archons to mess with the Adepts are just super powerful. A couple more force fields go down. Zealots will run in, but this is not going to be enough. Zealots disappear. GG. Zest takes, in my opinion, a marvelous victory here on Calvist. I think the first 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes, man, that was so good. It was one of those games where, you know, maybe it looked like not too much was happening, but all the moves that Zest made were, in my opinion, the right ones. I think he played so good.
He actually did.
Hey guys, I'm just going to interject real quick. We're actually coming up on 7 a.m. on the West Coast, which means our front page time's about to come to an end. So I hope you've enjoyed some look at StarCraft 2 if you're not the normal fans. We do a lot of StarCraft 2 here on BaseTradeTV, so I hope you'll consider hitting that follow button and catch us some more awesome high quality stuff in the future. But that being said, we're going to cut to break really quick here. Not to cut you guys off, I love this post-game analysis, but we're just got to fix a couple of bugs here on my end. So we'll be back ASAP. We got more games coming, and we'll do the player unveiling when we get back. Thank you for watching. Hey folks, we got most of the bugs fixed, so let's not waste too much time. Let's get to the next player coming up. Now, unfortunately, we've gone through and exhausted most of our amazing Protoss roster. There may or may not be some more to come. I'm not going to spoil anything. But what I will tell you about this player is he is a Zerg. This player is probably the best English-speaking Zerg player out there. If that doesn't give it away, I'm going to assume Hearthstone knows who it is.
Solar.
Yeah, none other than Solar. He's on Team Splice. He is an absolutely fantastic player. I'm not sure where his PVZ's at nowadays, but I guess we'll ask him as we get to the interview, because we do have him and Zest available, but once again, guys, no cameras. So with that being said, I'm going to go over to our awesome interview here. Crank, always helping us facilitate this stuff. Thank you very much. Hello again, my friend.
Now just to fix his mic so we can talk with him.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Well, again, guys, there's no cameras for this, but we got Zest and Solar. Hey, Solar, how you doing, man?
Alright, I'm good.
Of course, Solar's probably the only guy here who doesn't need a translator, but it's okay. You're coming up to the match. I'm just gonna ask you straight up. What map do you want to try and kill Zest on?
On this leather map pool?
Yeah, you know, the good map pool, not the new bad maps.
Maybe all maps are very bad for Zerg. Maybe Eastwatch is the best map for Zerg, I think.
Eastwatch? Okay.
Yes.
Any specific reason for Eastwatch, or is it just like the least worst map?
Because this map has a gold base. Normally, it's good for Zerg on every map that have gold base. So this map is the best, I think.
Yeah, gold maps are pretty nice. Well, Solar, I gotta ask you really quick, man. You're well known actually for having the best English. I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not, but when people talk about Koreans and their English, it's always Solar as number one.
Really?
I'm curious, do you feel this has helped you out, or has this just been something that's a bit of a side benefit?
I don't think it's a huge benefit, because people are normally like the best players, or some like best players or funny players. I'm not the boss, so I think I'm the popular with with the English skills. So I don't know yet.
Everyone's got to be number one at something, right? But okay, so we've got Zest on. Crank, how does Zest feel about his PVZ right now?
정말 토스 때 저거 요즘 어떤 것 같아?
이제 푸저전이 약간 이제 스타 1은 이제 빌드가 서로 이제 알잖아요. 뭐 쓸지 정적인 빌드 같은 게 있는데 스타 2는 좀 그런 게 많이 없었는데 최근에 푸저전은 약간 서로 뻔한 게임에서 누가 실수를 더 줄이고 멀티태스킹 잘하냐 싸움인 것 같아가지고 좀 뻔해진 감이 있죠.
So StarCraft 2 PvE in StarCraft 2 used to be not predictable, like so many strategy going on. So it's like he didn't, and right now it's more like StarCraft 1. Like people can predict each other's strategy, like build order, so easily. So this game became more like who makes less mistake than other one, something like that.
That's fair enough. I actually have a question for Solar again. I don't know. Did you hear about? Do you hear about Rainer? Do you know who that is?
Yeah, right. I know him very well.
Yeah. Did you see he got 10-0 on the European?
Yeah,
Canada?
I saw that. I saw only the lizards. I didn't watch the games. Maybe next time I will watch it.
Well, what do you think of him? He's one of the younger new kids, right? New talent to StarCraft. What are your thoughts on the younger generation of players?
Oh, it's really good for scene. Also, I saw him when I was 18, and he was 13, I think, when I won the DreamHack Stockholm in 2014. When I saw him, I thought, oh, he's so cute. Oh, is he playing StarCraft? I was very surprised. And I'm now very surprising about he's growing so fast right now. So maybe he will be the best player on Europe maybe in 1 or 2 years, I think.
It's funny to hear you talk about him being young, because you're quite young yourself too. Did you ever feel like, hey, my age is a problem, or was that ever a problem at all?
For Koreans, we have to go army until 30, so age is always problem for Koreans. So maybe younger is the more benefits for us, I think.
Well, you got to fight Old Man Zest next. Do you have any thoughts about this match before we hop into it?
Yes, he's older than me, but I think his skill is maybe very good, very, very good. Like a young boy, so I'm very scared about that.
I like it. He's got respect for his elders. Crank, can you ask Zest if he has any comments about Solar before we go into game?
민수한테 뭐 할 얘기 있어?
그냥 뭐 한 판 하는 거니까 서로 좀 어이없이 안 끝나고 재밌게 했으면 좋겠어요.
Since it's best of one, he doesn't want the game become ended so quickly. He wants to play some fun games with Solar.
Ah, okay. I like that. Well, thank you guys both, and I wish you both the best of luck. We're going to hop into game, and we'll see you on StarCraft 2. Thank you again, Crank.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, back to the casters.
Getting this timing down so well. Change between Skype and Zoom. Oh, it's amazing. All right. So guys, we're going to be going into Solar. I don't know if you guys saw, but Solar versus Zest. It talks a little bit about Rainer. And Solar knew him, that he was cute and he might be the best in a while. And Rifkin made a joke about Zest being the old guy, but Solar said he's still very scary, plays like a young guy. He's really scared, and he chose Eastwatch as the map because he thinks that's one of the few maps that is good for Zerg. So do you agree with that, or do you think that he's understating how good Zerg can be?
Well, Kav made a face, so Kav, go ahead.
I'm just confused that I don't even think Eastwatch is that good for Zerg. I mean, if he already thinks Eastwatch is good, I'd like to hear his opinions on Abiogenesis and Catalyst, because I think these maps are quite good for Zerg as well.
Might have to do with the gold base. I mean, we know Solar is the type of Zerg that likes to make a lot of Zerglings, Banelings, maybe Ravagers even, or just mass Hydra Bane, and maybe he feels that gold base gives him the economic advantage that he wants.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel like even Acid Plant is really sick for Zerg as well. So if he thinks Eastwatch is better than those three, then we already have 4 maps that are good for Zerg out of 7, Kev. Now, I'm no mathematician, but I think that sounds pretty all right.
Well, one more thing, by the way, that I think is worth adding is that obviously one of the real strengths of Protoss in this matchup is War Prism play. You know, you open up with a Stargate, you follow it up with War Prism play. Eastwatch is a very large map, so it takes some time for a Prism to get to the other side of the map, which often gives Zergs those extra 5 to 10 seconds. And that may sound like nothing, but 5-10 seconds of either Roaches being in position, or Lings and Banes and Queens being in position or not, can make a really big difference. So that could also be a reason. The gold base, combined with the fact that it's a very large map, which makes War Prism play, at least when it comes to timings, a little bit weaker. Maybe that's his reasoning.
That might just be it. We're going to find out what Solar's plan is as we head into Eastwatch. All right, Eastwatch. It's the first time we've seen this map chosen, and it is by this guy in the bottom left. He's the red Zerg, the new contender. It is Solar.
And in the top right, it is the king of the hill, the man of the hour, who just destroyed SOS in a beautiful game of PvP. It is Zest.
You guys, I'm just going to take care of the shillin' so these guys can rest easy. Of course, if you are enjoying this tournament, it is sponsored by the fine folks over on PeopleImages.com. It's a stock photo, stock video website with the highest quality images for some of the best prices you can find out there. If you're making a website or a project for school or anything that's going to require it to look fantastic, be sure to check out PeopleImages.com. There's no special URL, there's no discount code. They're just happy to put on some StarCraft 2 and hope that you'll check out their website.
And don't forget to go to the Matcherino as well to continue supporting this tournament, which is put on thanks to them. So, exclamation point Matcherino in chat. Easy peasy. And yeah, let's talk a little bit more about this game. You guys kind of went over the map and why Solar might be so, I guess you could say biased for this map. I don't know if he was overplaying his bias or what. I think there are other good maps for Zerg, of course, but he definitely mentioned the gold base. That was one of his key points about it. But I certainly can see why Zerg players like it, and maybe more against, well, I guess when I watch this map played, I feel like it's mostly ZVT. So sometimes I'm like, what does ZVP actually entail here? But for Zerg, I mean, the runarounds, they have multiple attack paths. They're not being necessarily the easiest, even when you break down the rocks. I can see why Solar likes it, but how do Protoss usually approach this map against Zerg?
Well, it's actually kind of a weird map to play in, because sometimes they'll take the gold and it really changes the dynamic of the map. However, we see Solar actually taking the regular third, so that won't really come into play. Obviously, every game is still going to be Stargate, as always, but the follow-ups can be anything, except I want to say that glaive attacks are a bit less common, or something like a 6 adept push, just because the distance is so long, and it doesn't time out really nicely with the shade. So, for example, you could use a second shade, but then you need to wait a bit until you can actually move in. So sometimes you only use one, sometimes you'll use two, but it feels a bit weird whenever that happens. Neon Violet is very similar like that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like an Archon drop with perhaps 6 gateways, or just the regular 4 gateways going into a longer game. You see Zest opening up with a Phoenix as well to clear those overlords as fast as possible, and Solar actually sending 2 overlords to Zest side of the map, so that's a nice little win there for Zest.
I do feel like Zest, and again, he hasn't been as commonly seen on online tournaments. I think he was maybe a couple months ago, but even up to a month to 2 months ago, he was consistently, I mean, like 8 or 9 out of 10 games going for the Archon follow-up to the Stargate. And if it wasn't that, it was just into the Archons, he really likes the Archon drops. So I am certainly expecting that, just from him in general on this map to be good too. He is going to be able to eventually find the second Overlord, but this Oracle going to be, predicted by Solar, even if he didn't actually see it there. I just barely seen it.
It would have been pretty sick if Zest would have proxied the Stargate here, because Solar waited quite some time and didn't really check every corner. Imagine if this proxy Stargate would have been on the right side of the gold base. It would have arrived so fast, and there would have immediately been like 6 or 7 dead drones. That would have actually worked out super well, but it's not the case. So let's see if the Phoenix Oracle combo, he's going to lift the Queen, and he's going to try to get a couple of drones regardless. And well, he picks up 4, perhaps even 5 very quickly.
4 is very good though, and he also got him to Force a Spore. Usually you only get 3, I feel like, and you don't even get the Force a Spore. So slightly better start than expected for Zest. We do see just staying with 4 gates for now. We see the charge, we see the Templar Archive, but this probe is up to a little more, so perhaps 2 extra gateways being added. Perhaps
one of the adepts got picked off at the natural of Zest, and that's actually kind of nice, because you need those adepts as a Protoss to secure your potential third base. Of course, you can use the Oracle for that as well, but it's still always nice. No Roach Warren, no Baneling Nest for Solar, straight into Hydras.
Yeah. No upgrades, so at least, when the Hydras is done, he could make quite a few. but this is always a scary timing because even when there are Hydras, there's going to be a lot of them that actually deal with both the Archons and the Mass Amount of Charges that can accompany this. Now, the Lings are tailing the Warp Prism. Oh, it's actually very cute of the Oracle to kind of escort it. Sometimes when the Lings find the Warp Prism like this, it's actually just you can't warp in the Archons. But in this case, he just does it anyway.
The Lings are being annoying on the other side of the map though. They picked up that one Adept, they're gonna pick up this Probe as well, gonna cancel on this battery, and this is really annoying. Ooh, no cancel there by Zest. Zest is obviously very busy with his Archon arrest, but he's taking some damage on the other side of the map. He doesn't get a free Queen, but if Solar can get his Hydras in a good position, and they actually pop here, ooh, that Prism got into dangerous territory.
That would have been perfect for Solar. 6 Zealots are being warped in now, though, and I think Zest really hoping to find at this time no Banelings, and he certainly won't find those. There's nothing there. There's still no upgrades. Just now working on the range upgrade for the Hydras. They're going to absolutely melt. There's actually not even Lings here to guard the Hydras, and even those would not be dependable.
Good micro with the drones though. He saved at least a couple of these Hydras. If Solar can just get his Hydras in a good place, he will still be fine. But you cannot just fight with 3 or 4 Hydras. Zest is not wasting any time here. He's not building any probes either. He lost the pylon to that Ling rest as well on the other side of the map. Now the Hydras coming from both sides. Can Solar manage this battle good enough?
Maybe. The Warp Prism micro is pretty good, but the Archons are almost out of shields. The split of the Hydras really helped out here. The Hydras in the mineral line also were somewhat protected. And that ended up going a lot better than I thought it was.
Yeah, very well done by Solar. That wasn't easy. He was put in a pretty uncomfortable position. But I think he managed that very well. He's ahead in workers, not by that much. But he also knows that he has just created a lot of freedom for himself. And Zest was pretty committed, especially because he took some damage on the right side of the map, losing a pylon, losing the battery, losing the Adept. And wow, that's a pretty fast fire follow-up.
Yeah, especially after Hydras, you don't really ever see it like this. But Solar is actually one of those Korean Zergs who really likes his Mutalisk. He'll get the 9 or the 8 Mutalisk, kill 35 probes and win the game like that. Like, the amount of times I've seen him do that, and just against myself, is scarily high. So I wouldn't be surprised to just see him build a couple. It probably won't be for mass mutants, but it's very scary to play against.
He did play Mass Muta against Neep, didn't he? As these Archons are going rampage in the main base, as the Hydras were a little bit out of position. He didn't see the Spire though, did he? No, there's no way. It's all the way on the left side. I think he did play Mass Muta against Neep on this map, and it turned into a base trade, and it got very close. Both players were down to like 0 probes or 0 drones, and it came down to like 1 Phoenix and 1 Archon and 2 Stalkers near 2 batteries that were out of energy, got a little bit of energy. It was actually a very fun and exciting game, so I agree with you. I mean, he's also throwing up the Baneling Nest, so that gives us the idea that this is indeed not Mass Muta, but you never know with Solar.
So, I have a question for you guys. I feel like this isn't really rampant, so maybe it just has a few oddities, but I feel like lately, and by lately I mean the past like 4 months, I've seen more and more Protosses who are totally okay with not going for Storm at all. I don't mean like not like going for it quickly, I mean not going for it at all. Like Neve didn't go for it in like a 30-minute game, I think, against like Cyril one time. Is this like a good idea? Is it specific to this game? Is it the new trend of Protoss, or is it just an outlier?
I'm pretty sure Zest forgot it this game.
Okay.
I think he thinks he has it because he put 4 Templar in the Prism for,
oh, he did?
I guess, a Storm drop, and he has 2 more trailing around who have about 100 energy. And
oh my goodness.
Oh, you're totally right. I thought he turned into Archons. Oh yeah, well this is just an obvious mistake then.
Oh, that's gonna be so sad when you're getting ready to drop. And it's so funny. You know what's gonna be really funny, guys? When Solar's gonna split his units.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, this push is still very intimidating. With or without Storm, though. What if it's actually intentional and it's a bluff play?
Mind games,
for
man.
yes, 200 IQ Protoss Gaming. Storm drop. No. Yes. Split Solar.
I think now I realize he's not even bothered to turn to Archons. Okay, now I turn to Archons. It felt for a moment there that he was playing mind games. Like, okay, just pretend you have Storm and he'll be fine.
The funny thing is, I mean, he's taking some damage. He's losing quite a bit against the Mutas, but there isn't much at home anymore for Solar. I think Zest is winning. He's just straight up winning.
Oh
my god, this is so sick!
He thinks that's Storm. He goes for 6 High Templar, 4 and a War Prism, and still just wins the game without Storm. What?
Oh, I love it. That's the sick. I'm gonna copy that build. That's amazing.
Okay, all right. Are so many more analysis on that one?
I just opened the replay real quick because I'm very confused. It felt like Solar Start was super good, but now that I'm looking back at it, like the start was very good, but then for some reason he just didn't add a single probe while Zest was adding probes. So he stayed on 54 drones for a very long time, and he kept producing Hydras and Lynx for a bit for no real reason. It looked like he produced like 6 or 8 more Lynx and 4 or 5 more Hydras without any real purpose. So then the game kind of equaled out, and Zest just pushed at the perfect time while the Mutas were flying across the map. So, I mean, if you're pushing with 5 Archons and the 9 Mutas are halfway, haven't killed anything yet, then it's just not a good investment. It's the 200 of the Spire, and then 800 or 900 of the Mutas who don't really fight Archons at all. And if it's an even situation, yeah, you're not gonna win that game.
So I think one reason for Solar to make that many units and why he was afraid is, I think, a potential double prism play, which is obviously quite powerful on a map like Eastwatch. I think he was very worried that it wouldn't just be that one prism with the Archons and a few Zealots, but there would be a second prism showing up in his main base. Right when he squeezes out 11 drones, another prism shows up, wipes in 10 Zealots, and he just doesn't have enough to defend both locations. I think that's what he was probably reading it as.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we are ready to find out our next player, and I already spoiled for it, so I'm pretty excited. But let's find out who it is.
Oh, I know who it is. And if you're this excited.
Yeah, well, for the few people in the audience who don't quite have the spoilers ready to go, he's one of the oldest school Terrans. He's got himself a BlizzCon championship. The dude's a badass. He went to the military and he came out looking better than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, next up we do have MMA. Master of MMM, better known as MMA.
He got second place though, Riff.
I was gonna say, I don't think he won.
You're right. Excuse me. I forgot they scrubbed things, so I wasn't quite sure if that counted or not. But we'll keep that awkwardness aside.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you've got a point.
But all right, I'm gonna send us over now to the interview where, we do have a webcam for this. Awesome. So I'm gonna be joining here with MMA Crank and Zest on the horn. Hey, MMA.
Hello.
Long time no see, buddy.
Yeah, long time no see.
Your English is really good now.
Oh, I just say long time no see.
Hey, when I saw you MLG like 3-4 years ago, I remember barely could say hi. Very good now, man.
Yes.
Well,
MMA improving English.
Yeah, man. Well, you survived the military. Was it difficult being away from StarCraft for so long?
No. It was easy peasy.
Easy peasy? Did you?
Yes.
Was there any special treatment because they knew you were like StarCraft legend in the military?
뭐라 한 거야, 재현아?
그 뭐가 스타크래프트 전설적인 선수라서 뭐 대우 같은 거 받았냐고.
행정병 했지, 행정병. I'm 컴퓨터 job.
Because he was a pro player, so people in military thought he is familiar with computer, so they put him in at office and do some Excel or the PowerPoint, something like that, the office work.
I see why he says easy peasy now.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Well, MMA, first question is, what map do you want to pick versus Zest?
야, 잠깐만. 그나마 변수 있는 맵을 해야 될 거 아니야? 그러면은 에이바이오 제네시스 한번 하자.
오.
예상했습니다.
에이바이오 제네시스.
All right. How does Zest feel about that map pick?
성우 어때요? 맵?
제 말 들리세요?
들려.
잘 들려?
네, 당연히 예상했고요.
오.
A바이오에서 뭐 할지 생각 중이었다고 말해주세요.
He already thought the MMA was gonna pick that map, so he has been preparing what strategy he's gonna play.
Mind games, too good. MMA, you're already losing.
I have a special build.
Okay, I believe. So I don't know much about the climate in Korea. Obviously, we hear a lot from the foreign scene about how big Brood War is. How's StarCraft for you guys? Like, do you see a future for yourself still playing StarCraft?
알아들었어?
아니야.
아니 뭐 미래에도 자기가 이렇게 스타크래프트 플레이하면서 계속 지낼 것 같냐고. 이렇게 그게 그려지냐고.
와, 내가 40대까지 이거 선수 생활을 해야겠지?
He's asking me, I have to keep playing as a pro player, right, Crank? You know what? He has been watching Protoss vs. Zerg to prepare some casting job.
Oh.
No.
Retire soon then. Not good.
No. BlizzCon champion. I want a BlizzCon champion. No retire.
Oh, MMA, you've always had some of the best personality. I hope you will be a BlizzCon champion. I'd love to see you up there. Do you have any final words for Zest before we get into the game?
마지막 한마디.
정욱이에게 테라는 한 끼 식사겠지만 결코 이제 오늘 또 리프레시하고 왔으니까 등반하고 왔으니까 그 프레시한 마음으로 오늘 새로운 테란을 보여주겠습니다.
I know that Terran is just one time meal for Jest, but since I refreshed my mind after climbing mount, I think I will show good games.
Yeah, I said on Twitter, I'll say here, MMA will be king of 2 hills today. All right? For Zest, is he worried about MMA at all? Or is he just, it's Terran, who cares?
성호가 한마디.
단판이고 맵이 완전 테란 맵이라서
에이, 테란 맵이야.
어떻게 될지 모르겠지만 재밌는 경기 했으면 좋겠습니다.
Since it's best of 1 and the map is so good for Terran, I'm not really so confident, but I will try to play some good game.
Okay. Well, thank you guys both for joining us. Best of luck. And thanks again, Crank. We're going to go back to the casters now and see you guys in the game.
All right, so MMA still wants to be a pro gamer, wants to win BlizzCon, feels refreshed after climbing a mountain, and has chosen Abiogenesis as the map to face Zest on. I actually have a lot of thoughts about these two players facing each other, this player and the race, I guess, specifically, but we're going to hold off on that as the players are already ready to go. So let's get into Abiogenesis. Welcome back, everyone. You know, I've done a lot of intros, so I'm going to let these two guys do this one. Take it away, Rotterdam.
Alrighty, I am looking, and I'm not sure if you guys are, at the right bottom side of Abiogenesis. And we're looking at the main base, one of the biggest legends of this game. It is MMA.
And against him on the top left side is another legend, a back-to-back home story cup champion. It is the man to beat, Zest.
Yes, it is. As he is currently king of the hill. Gumio got 4 wins. Zest is on his way to serious win streak as well. We'll see if MMA can stop him on a very short map. Real quick, guys, remember the Matrino still has codes to use, so type that in chat and use the code that is accompanied. Very easy thing to do. And Matrino is provided service for a lot of different tournaments, so you can definitely trust them. And the money is real. Like you're just donating like $1 from them, not from you, to this tournament. So it's really awesome. But to this map. So MMA chooses this. Zest is a little, scared of the map, how good it is for Terran, is what he said. So I'm wondering what MMA thinks he can do here. I immediately go to some type of cheesy 2-base tank push, like we saw maybe Thermal do on this map, right? Because otherwise, I think MMA actually has a lot of difficulty in this matchup. Kind of like, it's like his understanding of the new pace of Legacy of the Void hasn't really hit yet for this matchup in my eyes. So I kind of want to see him do something that's very much just like, I do my build, I attack you, I hope that works.
Interesting opening, not going for the Reaper, he just goes straight for the Marine.
And why didn't he kill the probe?
I think he was looking for it. I don't think he knows it's
Yeah.
on the right side. He's going to be able to kill it now. There is a Zealot, of course, on the way, but with the command center on the high ground and soon to be a full wall off, this opening of Zest is not really going to work out. And now I truly wonder if he even reveals the fact that he has a Zealot or not.
I'm not sure if he should. I
don't think he should.
Yeah, I don't think he should either.
It's a really good call for MMA just to put the command center on the high ground. I mean, there is a very high chance, because even if they don't go for the Zealot necessarily, it's still a bother until that bunker's put down. Especially if you don't have the Reaper to draw them back. You have the Marines, so... It is going to be not just a factory added on, which the probe scouted, but he was able to kill it before it saw that it was a second barracks. So
I like this build a lot. I think this is a very good way to play the map. MMA right now is using a build that you would never want to do unless say Eastwatch, but I think for a Biogenesis, he's playing this very well.
I think the fact that you get the factory too, like kind of quick, but you still go into what could be a solid push is nice for a defensive option as well in case S was really piling on the pressure. Which again, not usually a cheesy guy, but anything goes in Genesis.
But he does have a mine, so I think he's just going to end up losing only 2 Marines here. He's going to sacrifice the Zealot. Okay, so he wants to get the Widow Mine as well. I guess that's a pretty good trade, a Zealot for a Widow Mine.
Yeah.
I'm down for that trade any day, I think. At least in this situation. Now he can poke up a bit, it's a lot harder for MMA to secure the low ground now, because otherwise he could just kind of storm down with the mine and a couple of Marines, burrow the mine in front where the Stalkers are positioned now, and then you're kind of safe. But now it seems, MMA really needs to wait for his tank, otherwise he can't really do anything on the low ground, at least not mine.
Well, the tank is more than halfway done. Stim has started, but yeah, this is indeed very annoying. I like the way that the MMA opened, but I also really like the way that Zest has played this out. Didn't reveal his Zealot immediately, getting the kill on that mine is very useful. He's being very annoying, he has created a minor worker advantage for himself, but MMA is doing this pretty good as well, not losing too many Marines. Now he's gonna use the moment to siege up his tank. And look at Zest, by the way, he's not opening up with Blink, he is straight going into charge, alright.
Yeah, straight charge, and he's adding gate 4, 5, 6,
wow.
And perhaps even gate 7. No, thank you, Zest, for that. Yeah, there we go, gate number 7. So we will be seeing a charge lot, and we also see a proxy pylon already. I wouldn't be surprised to see another gateway being put next to that pylon for that faster warp in. MMA, on the other hand, is getting its first medevac. Second tank is already out, so I am afraid that MMA is going to tank push into a 2-base charge all in of
yes.
36 probes. That would be terrible.
He
However,
really needs bunkers and depots. For the people who wonder, like, what should MMA do right now? Well, obviously he needs to figure out that this is happening. And if he does figure it out, if you get a wall of depots, or even E-base for all I care, and then you put a bunker behind it, he's going to be more than fine. He's absolutely going to murder it. But if his natural stays open like this, look at the Dark Shrine follow-up, by the way. But if his natural stays open like this, he has a scout, a random scout. He's going to drop. But obviously he's going to need those units at home. Oh my god, I'm so worried for MMA.
Yeah, something that's kind of big as well is that both tanks are on the low ground. Otherwise, I think this drop is actually going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And he kind of could just sacrifice the low ground. But he can't even hold the high ground, I think, if he has both tanks on the low ground. Kind of in a garbage position.
Oh god, here it comes.
So fast! Here come the Zealots. He's gonna try to run behind the depots, but the SCVs will block it, at least for a little bit. Now, okay, he's gonna be able to raise it. That's something, at least. And don't forget about that drop in the main base, like you said, Harston.
That's an instant reaction. That just saved MMA's life for sure, and now it's a really interesting game. The command center should live, considering there's not that many stalkers. Zest is gonna lose like every single probe here. The Zealots could be... Actually, no, they can't be targeted down. The Sim is it's already injured the Marines enough, so they gotta get out of there. So 19 probes killed, the 12 SCVs, but MMA has not held his side of the push, so unless they get great shots, things might just be over.
I mean, the SCVs is doing a really good job. It's only a couple of bio units left, though, but don't forget about the power of the Mew in situations like this. A Protoss losing 26 probes, losing almost all the units as well. I really think that MMA can do this here. Don't forget about that. Matter of fact, he's still, all of his units pretty much of the drop are still alive. And when both players lose this amount of workers, I think MMA is doing it.
I think MMA is as well. Like his Marines didn't really go that far. They managed to grab like 10 more probe kills just being on the high ground against the Zealots that had trouble chasing them. And I feel like that is a significant difference. Losing 50 more probes puts him at even workers. MMA is able to finish his upgrades. This is actually MMA's game because his production's still intact and he has mules.
Yep. Look at that one Marine on the high ground. Kill the Zealot! Kill the Yes! Get the other Zealot. Oh my god, this is the most intense micro I've ever seen on one Marine, guys. He's babysitting the one Marine drop. MMA is loving this. He's loving it.
Old school MMA, to be honest, just you can kind of you feel this dependency on him. Oh my god, he does it. Okay, GG, MMA takes this game. But I was gonna say, back when MMA was just the Terran, you would always depend on him to make things work in even the worst situations, and that was exactly that game. Having tanks in the low ground against charge lots and making one medevac drop equalize things, and then ultimately get him the win. That's so sick.
I really like what you said. That reaction time, the moment he saw those Zealots storm in is natural. I think he made all the correct decisions. If he stays too long on the low ground, he dies. If he fights too early, he dies. But he ran behind his depots, even made a small gap between his SUVs so he could raise the wall, make it a lot harder, and get some extra time to get a few extra units out. Really well done. And obviously, the way he controlled his drop on the other side of the map, he killed everything, including all the reinforcements that Zealot warped, Zest was warping in.
Any last words there, Harsum?
Nah, just very impressed by how MMA did it. I really liked how he waited with his drop as well until Stim was finished. He just kind of kept it in the corner of the base, not showing it. And then it's actually very hard to do this, but when everything went down, at the exact same time, he also moved in. So he really needed good multitasking to pull this up. And I think his initial reaction of just sacrificing the low ground was absolutely perfect as well. It's just, I don't know, just really a beautiful game by MMA.
Absolutely. So, guys, we are on to our last player as Zest is taken out by MMA. Who is he going to face? Well, you're going to have to wait as we're going into a quick 3-minute break.
Okay, we're back. But we're going to go straight to the unveiling screen. We got one last game, one last match coming up. We got both players on call. Of course, MMA having just one gets to stick around a little bit longer, and you guys get to hear me nerd out as we go talk to him. But this last player coming up is quite the innovator when it comes to StarCraft 2. A hero of sorts to his race. And he's got a lot of strength, a lot of forte, if you will. It is, of course, none other than
Are we supposed to guess, or we?
No, you guys know who it is. You got the list. You can just process of elimination it at this point. But yeah, it's Impact coming up next. A little bit of an attempt to bamboozle, but it's a TVZ to finish the day. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna try and get the interview going here as I swap on over. We got Crank once again helping us out, and a big thank you to him. But hello, MMA. Good to see you again.
Yes. Good to see you.
Now, you are crazy motherfucker. That game.
Yeah.
You said you had a special build. I didn't believe you.
I told you.
I believe you.
I told you.
Well, it's one last game. The winner of this will advance to the round of 8. It's you and Impact. Do you think you can beat Impact in a best of 1?
들었잖아. 이길 수 있냐고 준혁이.
딴 생각하고 있어가지고.
준혁이 이길 수 있겠냐고. 단판인데.
단판이라서 또 어떻게 될지. 원래 스타2는 단판은 또 모르거든요. 이 3판 2선이랑 단판이랑 또 달라요.
MMA가 제스트 이긴 것처럼?
그렇죠.
Since it's best of 1, he doesn't know if he's gonna win, just like MMA beat Jest.
So crazy build time. I know MMA already, he told me today, he just wants to show good games and have good time. But just so you guys know, if you advance to the round of 8, minimum prize, $250. So 50, 60, whatever from today, plus 250 from there. A lot of money on this best of 1.
이거 이기면은 $250 8강 무조건 확보라서 이거는 그러니까 $250 걸려 있는 거야. 30만 원 정도.
오.
Okay, you can.
Nice.
Nice. For Impact, sorry, hello Impact, by the way. How do you feel about coming into this versus MMA?
성원이 형이랑 하는 거 어떻게 생각해?
성원이 형, 근데 전 성욱이 형이나 성현이 형이랑 다 스타일을 알아가지고, 누가 이겨도 상관없었긴 했는데, 제가 그래 최근에 테란전 연습 좀 많이 하고 있어가지고, 성훈 형이라서 좀 약간 편한 느낌이 있죠.
되게 쉬운 거를 되게 돌려 말한다.
이게 좀 아까 대등하니까.
Okay.
So Impact say that he knows just play style. He knows MMA's play style very well. So it doesn't matter who was gonna win. But lately he has been practicing a lot against Terra. So it's more comfortable to play against MMA. So MMA say that. Does that mean that am I easy peasy like that? And then it's just over the conversation.
Well, I love this too, by the way, because of course MMA and Impact, they know each other pretty well from time spent in the Axiom House. How is it difficult having like long-term friendships as gamers, or do they just drift apart? Like, are they still close? I don't even know.
뭐 이제 엑시엄 때부터 이제 오래 알고 지냈는데 뭐 요즘 뭐 둘의 사이는 어떤지?
뭐 그냥 게임 하다가 헤어질 사이죠.
준혁이는?
너무 솔직하신데요. 저는 성원이 형 게임 접어서도 볼 사이죠.
So MMA say that if he quit pro gamer, he's not gonna meet Impact anymore. But Impact say that he's gonna meet MMA in the future, long time.
I love these guys. By the way, what map does Impact want? How does he want to screw over MMA here with this pick?
준혁아 맵 7개 레더 중에 아무거나 선택해도 되거든.
좀 고민되는데요.
내가 맞춰볼까?
네, 맞춰주세요.
너는 백워터로 할 것 같은데?
MMA gets the backwater and Impact. 준혁아 맵을 골라야지. 준혁아, he's gone.
임팩트.
He's scared. Obviously scared.
It's live.
Live. Okay, I'm going to invite him again.
MMA, you're too scary. Impact had to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why he? 뭐냐? 나이가 어린. So young. He's so young.
Yeah. You old man. Old man MMA.
Yeah.
So 준혁 골라 맵.
이스트워치 하겠습니다. 이스트워치.
이스트워치.
That reaction. Okay, so Eastwatch.
최근에 제가 이스트워치를 다 끄고 했거든요.
It's because MMA haven't practiced Eastwatch at all in ladder. He beat that map.
Oh, MMA. Disappointed. Disappointed. I guess a question for MMA before we go, because it might be the last time we speak to him today. Has it been difficult getting back to where he was before military service? Like, he's obviously been working very hard. Does he feel like he's as strong as he used to be?
예전 실력으로 돌아가는 거에 대해서 뭐 어떤지, 요즘 실력이 옛날이랑 똑같은지 뭐 이런 거 보네.
아직 진짜 많이 부족합니다. 부족하지만 진짜 지금 열심히 연습을 통해서 옛날에 그런 전성기를 되찾기 위해서 하고 있으니까 많이 기대해 주세요.
It feels like he's still much far behind from how he used to be, but he has been practicing a lot. So, yeah, he's been working on it.
Still better than parting, right?
Parting is a little bit better than MMA.
Just tease. MMA, any comments for Impact before we get in the game?
준혁아, 형이 게이머 그만두고 안 본다는 건 농담이고 너무 상처 담지 말고 알지? 또 준혁이가 소심해가지고 또 이거 또 진심으로 받아들인 거 아니야?
So MMA say that it was joke that he's not gonna meet Impact anymore if he retired. So don't feel bad like that. 준혁아, 너 한마디.
네, 저도 재밌게 한 게임 하고 누가 이겨도 서로 남상하지 않게 합시다.
야, 그러면은 이긴 사람이 25만 원이니까 치킨 사주기 하자.
근데 그거 참가비까지 30만 원 아니에요?
아, 그치.
그러니까 어쨌든
25만 원이잖아.
치킨 알겠습니다.
좋아요.
Also, Impact said that whoever wins, let's not feel bad. And MMA offered the Impact whoever wins buy chicken to the other. And Impact said yes, dear.
Oh, I like this. There's a side bet going on, the chicken bet. Nice. Well, I'm really looking forward to, because for me, if MMA wins, I get to see more MMA. If Impact loses, well, I get to see Impact in Canada in like a week anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited no matter who wins this personally. But if you could ask Impact, is he looking forward to, I guess, BTSL, just while we have him here?
이제 BTS 캐나다 가는데
네.
거기 가서 만나잖아. 그래가지고.
그지. 맞죠. 립팀. 네.
He totally forgot BTS.
Impact.
Looking for meeting you.
No, I hope you lose. Please lose now.
Hey, you whisper to me. His build, okay?
Okay. Yes. I'll chat. Build. Okay. Got it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys both so much. I wish you both the best of luck. You're absolutely awesome. We're going back to the casters, and thank you once again, as always, Crank.
Okay.
All right, let's get the players ready. They had as you guys can imagine, I know you guys can't hear it, but they are very friendly towards each other, being, I guess, not ex-teammates technically, but they lived in the same house for a very long time. So both of them are ready. It's going to be Impact versus MMA for the last match of the day on Eastwatch. Let's get into it. All right, guys, it is the final game of this King of the Hill, and that means it's super important. Not only do these guys now have a bet, loser buys dinner for the other guy, this also determines who gets the final King of the Hill qualification spot. I do believe this means also Gumiho has gotten the most wins, so he probably has that. Okay, confirmed. That is in fact true. So it's Gumiho and either MMA or Impact. So it's Eastwatch. It's the final game. It could be a great TVZ. Let's see. In the bottom left, as the orange Zerg, he is Impact. Harsum.
And in the top right, the guy who beat out Zest, it is none other than MMA.
Yes. I know some people in chat were talking about how it's kind of unfair. All you have to do is win one best of one, and you get the qualification spot if you're the last to go. And well, that's kind of the gist, guys. King of the Hill has never been intended to be a fair fight. It's intended to give really great games and be a different format than the usual other billion tournaments that there are. And don't forget that it is sponsored by PeopleImages, and that there is a Matcherino that you guys can still contribute to with code PSL2. So go do that. And now we can truly talk about this. MMA, you guys didn't hear this, but MMA has not played on this map. He vetoes it on ladder. So he was very upset when Impact chose it.
Do you really think that? I mean, he must have played a couple games on it. It's impossible to truly avoid a map, I think. He went CC first as well. I mean, he looked at it, probably said, big map, let's go for a big economy. CC first here for MMA.
It's kind of interesting and very rare, I want to say. Even on the bigger maps, we hardly really see it because the Terrans really like their earlier Reaper, their earlier Scout, their faster Hellions. What does the CC first actually give you, Zombie Grub? Because I'm not too aware what it does in the TVZ matchup.
Well, I think sometimes the biggest benefit actually is that it stops the two lanes from actually canceling it or delaying it. So if there was something cheesy from Impact very, very early on, like really fast speed, he's kind of safeguarding himself against it as long as he had any scouting so he could slap on the wall. But it does give you access to faster gas geysers. So obviously you get them later, but you can double the time, and then you can actually get your builds, and it just lines up so much smoother. I mean, I guess you know the difference of having... Oh wait, no, you guys don't. I was about to go full Terran mode. I was like, you guys know the difference of having your command center on the high ground as opposed to the low ground. I was like, no, wait a second. You guys need to put yourself on a low ground. But it does expedite the process. It typically goes into the same thing, though. Like, you do get a Reaper. Some people go for 2 Marines, Reactor first. That can happen. He goes to the Reaper. It goes into Hellion Banshee for the most part. But I think a lot of Terrans, yeah, when they do this build, they're actually going for Extreme Greed. They're going for the 3rd CC as well. So really, as fast as possible. The starport still comes down. So if an Overlord, for instance, gets in the scout like Impact has it right now, it would maybe think that this is actually a 2-base command center first, when actually it's 3 bases. It's just that close of a timing.
I kind of like the idea of going super heavy on eco though against a Zerg like Impact. I think we all know that Impact's strength is making a lot of units being very aggressive with those lower tier units. If I think of Impact, I don't think of a Zerg that has the entire map covered in creep with static defenses everywhere and has perfect control, Vipers, Infestors, and Broodlords. Like, that's not the type of Zerg Impact is. No. Impact is good at making an insane amount of units, but if you have a very strong defensive economy, then you can technically deal with that. So I don't hate the approach that MMA has here.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool, and Impact also went for Overlord speed, so he invested a lot into early game upgrades, not so much getting aggressive or defensive units out, and now all he saw was, well, there's a 3rd CC that's already done, and he can't really do too much about it at this point anymore. He already made most decisions. He already threw down the Roach Warren before, so...
What if he goes Nidus, though?
I was gonna say, he could just...
If he could go Nidus, and he's actually producing 4 Overlords at the same time. That could be because he's supply blocked, but it could also be because he wants to get a couple of Roaches.
Right, he actually has...
Roaches.
So he has a sick drop build that is Vaulted Lair, because that's where drops are moved to against Terran, where he brings 4 Queens and just as many Roaches and Ravagers as he can bring. Obviously, this is not the like no starport fast 3rd into a bunch of barracks or a bunch of factories. There was one put down, so he has to be careful of Banshee follow-ups, so he needs to afford the Spore Crawlers. But it's not the drop, it is the Nidus Swarm. He's still going to have Queens. He's still going to be able to morph Ravagers if necessary, but with the Reactor being put on the starport, no Libers going to be popping out. There's going to be basically no production, and I really actually don't know how MMA holds this without getting Cyclones, like, right now.
Yep, it's going to be very hard. He obviously doesn't know about it yet either, and that's a very big problem. He's going to spot these Queens. That doesn't really tell him much at all. MMA is completely in the dark. There is an Overseer coming in from the north side, and that's going to drop the Nidus straight into the main base near the production facilities, and MMA is going to need a miraculous hold. Maybe he can do like that SCV hold position thing so units can pop out. Otherwise, he's going to have a very tough time. Making Taurs, that's going to take 7 years.
Approximately. And he had the medevacs with him. I actually truly believe in the defense and the immediate counter with the Hellbats that might live too, but he has to find some way to hold. Like, and I'm just really questioning how well he can ever do that. Maybe like 4 SCVs left.
I don't know. This isn't looking all that good. These factories are going to take so much damage. That first factory is going to go down before the Tor even comes out. I do believe that maybe factory number 2 can squeeze out the Tor if he repairs it a little bit, and that's what he's going to try to do. Can we get the strongest?
Oh, he got blocked!
I think it got blocked. It was blocked. There was no position to spawn it.
Oh, that is so amazing. I think he would have died anyways. He would have fallen right after, but still. That never feels very good. Impact, I didn't even get time to talk about how he has been very aggressive and very cheesy, and his builds have just been working out more than ever before because he went right into it, and it worked really, really well. Impact grabs the last king spot, so unfortunately MMA, despite beating Zest, a little bit of an upset, actually doesn't grab much from this. He does get paid to show up, so there's always that, but Impact's the one that grabs a qualification spot along with Gumiho.
I mean, that's kind of Impact in a nutshell, right? He's good at producing a lot of units, and he's good at being pretty aggressive and cheesy. And the moment he had Overlord speed, he knew what was going on. You know, I looked at the main base, and I'm like, that's still a pretty fast lair. It wasn't the quickest lair ever, but it was fast enough. I was like, probably gonna go Nidus. And that's sad for MMA, though, because he played such a cool game against Zest, and he took out Zest that was on a rampage, and he took him out in that TVP matchup. So a little bit sad for him, but congratulations to Impact.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 players determined today. We had the NA one already played, EU played. Do we have any more? I guess this is where maybe Rifkin can come on and talk a little bit more.
This is actually where we'll let Roddy and Hearthstone go, but Zombie Grub and I need to do something quite traditional here to the channel, and that is the absolutely horribly unbalanced, unfair, random draw from the hat to figure out what the round of 8 is going to look like. So before we disappear and go and all this stuff, I'll let you two, because I don't want to hold you guys through a bunch of boring stuff. Hearthstone, thank you. Roddy, thank you. Do you guys have any, we'll start with Hearthstone, any shout outs you want to do? I mean, Hearthstone, you've been streaming like a madman. You and Roddy both got that hashtag passion.
Yeah, lots of passion in here. So yeah, thanks for inviting me to be on today. Truly enjoyed it. Saw a lot of cool games. Still a bit salty that Zaz didn't make it in the end. I mean, he won so many games. But yeah, thanks once again for inviting me. And be sure to check out my stream, boys. I stream almost every day at twitch.tv/Hearthstone. And yeah, thanks so much.
And what about you, Roddy? Hit us up with them shout outs.
Just thank you very much, Riff, for inviting me. It's lots of fun. Shout out to Jess and Kev for joining me in this cast. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed casting with both of them. Hopefully everyone at home enjoyed the games. Thanks to all the players for showing up. I mean, you know that, the Riff. That's not always, but they were all here. So I truly had a beautiful afternoon. It was really fun to be part of it. And yeah, of course, I stream a fair amount as well. So you guys can check out my Twitch channel on twitch.tv/RonanM08. I play random, but mostly Protoss. So thank you very much for having me, and it was an absolute pleasure.
So, side note, by the way, before you guys disappear, I know we're sad Zest didn't make it, but I'm glad because we needed some non-Protoss here in this round of debate.
You've got Raynor.
We do have Raynor. You're right. We're ready for Raynor to all kill. I forgot about that. That's yeah. But yeah, I'm glad these guys showed up. You guys were a blast. And if you guys like Roddy, which I hope you do, you'll be seeing him return later. Now, right now, I just want to make clear, he'll be back for the playoffs, semifinals, grand finals. The dates are currently set for the 26th and 27th of May, but we'll be working with the players, trying to figure out what schedule works best for them. And if this is too close to Austin, we will simply move it to be after Austin is complete. So right now, the goal, May 26th, round of 8, and May 27th for the playoffs. If that changes, we'll announce that on Team Liquid and, of course, through Twitter. So be sure to follow BaseTradeTV on Twitter for those updates, guys. Or just keep an eye on the Team Liquid thread. But Roddy, Harsum, again, thank you both for joining us. We're going to go to commercials while I get set up here with Zombie Rob, and we will draw that round of 8 before disappearing. So stick around. Otherwise, have a great day, everybody.